Have you ever seen such a calm transmigration? This man directly crossed into the world of a novel. He naturally enjoys everything that belonged to the original host and even kind of enjoys it. The original host, Seo Jae-u, lived off the rent from a house his grandmother left behind after she passed away. In this novel, he is a support-type second male lead gong. He has looks but no ability, and he once chased an entertainment industry dream, but singing, dancing, acting, he wasn't good at any of them. His talent was abysmally poor. Fortunately, Seo Jae-u is a bona fide landlord. Just collecting rent is enough for him to get by. The only troublesome thing is, this original host character is downright rotten. While making dinner, Seo Jae-u recalled the entire process of his transmigration. The original host clearly held a winning hand, yet somehow managed to play himself into a complete wreck. Looking at the freshly cooked dishes, Seo Jae-u's gaze instead relaxed a little. Thankfully, the cooking skills were still there. Along with that, the stuffy feeling in his chest was smoothed out a bit. As soon as he looked up, he saw the two kids next door pushing the door open and coming out. They were the younger brothers of the novel's Yuk protagonist. Their parents had abandoned them. They could only rely on the Yuk protagonist working several jobs alone to support them, while also paying off the family's debts. Seo Jae-u at least still had an inheritance to support himself. As for ruining a good hand, the real reason was that the original Seo Jae-u always loved to stir up one thing. He pestered the Yuk protagonist Yu Hyeon-gyeong and took pleasure in tormenting him. As the vicious landlord who bullies the bottom protagonist, and also the second male lead attacker who harbors ill intentions toward the protagonist's show. As long as Yu Hyeon-gyeong can't hand over the rent, Seo Jae-u will humiliate him in public. And what's even more disgusting is that when he can't pay the rent, Seo Jae-u not only curses him, but also forces Yu Hyeon-gyeong to come close and press up against him. He's downright scum. Just as he finished lamenting the tragic life of the bottom protagonist, Seo Jae-u looked up and saw two children hunching their shoulders, roughly washing their faces with cold water. His brows immediately furrowed. He walked over, knocked on the door that had just closed, and softened his voice. "Have you eaten?" But because of the original owner's past actions, the two children clearly took his concern as a trap. Seo Jae-u sighed in headache, his temples throbbing. This place didn't even have a kitchen. Most likely they had just gnawed on some bread. Only when he brought out the landlord aura and made his tone a bit harder did the door barely open a crack, with the person hiding behind it, secretly sizing him up. With a calm expression, Seo Jae-u pointed behind him. "Come on, go eat with me." The sobbing still hadn't stopped, yet the boy fixed him with a wary, guarded stare. Seo Jae-u explained that he had accidentally cooked too much, but what answered him was a loud bang as the door slammed shut. Alright then, he could only change tactics and force them to eat. Seo Jae-u placed a whole table of steaming dishes directly at their door. He turned around, pretending nothing had happened, and casually tossed back a line, "Food's ready." The aroma followed the air and slipped into the room, and only then did the door next door quietly push open. Seo Jae-u heard the sound of the door closing behind him, but didn't look back. That little tsundere attitude was actually pretty cute. His mood relaxed, and he went back to the dining table, ready to dig into this lavish dinner. Bite after bite, the hot food rushed across his taste buds. He ate cleanly and with great satisfaction. He only felt that this was the happiest moment he'd had since crossing over. After finishing the meal, he flopped straight onto the bed and let out a comfortable burp. Seo Jae-u lay there quietly, thinking back on the days since he transmigrated. Although he had slowly gotten used to this place, he still wanted to leave as soon as possible, because he had to escape from this novel world as quickly as he could. He had reasons that couldn't be delayed. As he sank into thought, drowsiness pressed down on him as well. When he woke up again and pulled open the door, there were already freshly washed, spotlessly clean dishes and chopsticks placed at the doorway. He felt a pang in his heart thinking of those two little brats washing dishes with cold water, yet he was also relieved that at least they'd had their fill. He tidied up the room and went out to buy groceries, only to find at the checkout that the place he lived in didn't offer delivery. Carrying two heavy bags in his hands, Seo Jae-u couldn't help but grumble in dissatisfaction. And head-on he ran straight into the protagonist Yuk walking directly toward him, Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Seo Jae-u's heart gave a jolt. He hadn't expected to run into Yu Hyeon-gyeong in such an embarrassing state. It was bad enough that he'd crossed into a novel world and even become the vicious second male lead. On top of that, before he was even prepared, he had to run right into the male lead face-to-face. Seo Jae-u stared uneasily at the approaching Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Should he hide, or just turn around and run? But when he thought of the future plot, and considering he wasn't sure he could go back, What he needed more now was to find a way to build a good relationship with Yu Hyeon-gyeong. So, carrying 2 big bags of ingredients, Seo Jae-u forced out a small smile and pretended to greet Yu Hyeon-gyeong as if it were the most natural thing. When the other man lifted his eyes, a trace of surprise flashed across his face. The next second, he furrowed his brows and glared at him darkly. That look was too overpowering, and Seo Jae-u instantly cowered. Awkwardly, he squeezed out a single word, "Hi." Seo Jae-u nodded, and only then did the other man reply, sounding tired, "Hello." By the time Seo Jae-u processed what had happened, Yu Hyeon-gyeong had already walked past him. Seo Jae-u hurriedly called out to him and, gritting his teeth, tried to make conversation. "Are you going to work a part-time job?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong's body stiffened, and his voice sounded like it was being forced out through clenched teeth. "The rent for this month won't be late." Only then did Seo Jae-u realize that Yu Hyeon-gyeong had misunderstood what he meant. Heh. He lifted the groceries in his hand and, smiling, invited Yu Hyeon-gyeong to eat together. He said just one sentence and already annoyed Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Yu Hyeon-gyeong thought this was Seo Jae-u pestering him unwilling to give up, and his expression grew even darker. "I'm going to my part-time job." Seo Jae-u softened his tone, carefully saying that they could wait until he got off work and then eat together. As soon as he finished speaking, the anger on Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face could no longer be held back. He strode forward, looming over him, and glared fiercely at Seo Jae-u as he roared, "I warned you last time. Know when to stop." That handsome face suddenly came too close, and Seo Jae-u instinctively took a step back. He awkwardly forced out a small smile and stammered an apology. But Seo Jae-u's reaction made Yu Hyeon-gyeong a little surprised, though he only gave Seo Jae-u a sweeping glance before turning around and leaving. Seo Jae-u stared blankly at Yu Hyeon-gyeong's departing back, a bit dazed all over. With the male lead treating him like this, it was most likely because the original host had dug a pit for him before. This was also why he wanted to leave, because in the novel, the original host had been tormenting Yu Hyeon-gyeong all along, and in the end was even killed by the first male lead who appeared later. Thinking of this, Seo Jae-u's head started to ache. How did he end up becoming this vicious second male lead of all people? And he wasn't even sure what would happen next in the novel. In order to stay alive, Seo Jae-u tightened his grip on the bag of ingredients in his hand. He gritted his teeth and made up his mind. First, he would win the male lead over. No, it should be, first, don't provoke the male lead. Since things had already turned out like this, he had to work hard to change the male lead's impression of him. Seo Jae-u picked up a slice of sizzling grilled meat, and the aroma of the meat spread at once. It smelled so good that even the kid next door was about to cry from craving it. At a glance, he spotted the 2 little brats peeking through the crack in the door. If he wanted to win the male lead over, he had to start by winning over these 2 children. Delicious Seo Jae-u spread out the vegetables, carefully wrapped the grilled meat, smiled gently, and looked at them. "Let's eat together? Have some meat." The smell of the grilled meat drilled into his nose, and that wrapped piece of meat was handed right in front of him. The boy's stomach let out an embarrassing growl, and his eyes were filled with longing. But he still reached out and held back his younger brother, who wanted to rush forward. He was so nervous that his voice tightened as he carefully confirmed, "Really? We can eat it?" Only after getting an affirmative answer did the 2 of them finally relax and lower their heads to start eating. It was late at night by the time Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally finished work. Dragging his exhausted body, he walked down the empty alley. He was too tired, so tired he could barely breathe. The money he had earned from morning till night was only enough to pay the interest. He couldn't even remember how long it had been since he last rested. So stifled it felt suffocating, he just wanted to run away. Suddenly, a loud growl of hunger came from his stomach. Only then did he realize he had even forgotten to eat, and he covered his stomach in embarrassment. His heart clenched. Hopefully, no one heard that. But when he looked up, he saw Seo Jae-u leaning against the wall, looking at the way Seo Jae-u smiled as he greeted him. Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly remembered the harsh, humiliating words Seo Jae-u had once thrown at him. What was most unbearable was that Seo Jae-u's eyes were filled entirely with greed when he looked at him. So disgusting it made him want to throw up. He furrowed his brows, but since he couldn't find an apartment cheaper than this one, he could only swallow his disgust. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared at him, his brows knitting even tighter. Just as he was about to ignore him completely, his wrist was suddenly yanked by the other man. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's gaze turned so cold it was terrifying, and it scared Seo Jae-u into instinctively tightening his grip on the sleeve of his shirt. "Have you eaten?" He obviously hadn't expected Seo Jae-u to ask that. Feeling uncomfortable all over, Yu Hyeon-gyeong sharply shook off his hand and said stiffly, I've eaten. Seeing that he was lying, Seo Jae-u's brows pinched together, his tone turning even colder as he exposed him outright. But the other man stubbornly refused to admit it. So with a quick motion, Seo Jae-u suddenly raised his hand and pointed behind him. I could hear your stomach growling from over there. Not expecting even something this embarrassing to have been noticed, the tips of Yu Hyeon-gyeong's ears turned red, and he awkwardly forced himself to argue back. But Seo Jae-u kept talking, refusing to give an inch, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong simply stopped arguing with him. Seo Jae-u finally showed a smile and said in a very good mood, "Come home with me for dinner." His unusually warm attitude made Yu Hyeon-gyeong even more suspicious, but he still straightforwardly refused him once again. He turned around and left on the spot. In response, that guy actually started listing off dishes, trying to lure him back with food. Each time he said piping hot. It was as if the smell came with the words, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong unconsciously swallowed. In that instant, he actually spaced out. When he snapped back to his senses, he immediately turned around and left as if he were fleeing. Fate always loves to stab you again when you're already at your lowest. Yu Hyeon-gyeong refused Seo Jae-u's dinner invitation and turned around to run, looking as pathetic as someone who had just lost a battle. There were still 2 kids at home who depended on him to support them. When he pushed the door open and went inside, both younger brothers were asleep. One of them was woken by the noise and greeted him groggily. Only after rubbing his head did Yu Hyeon-gyeong notice the smell of grilled meat on them. He looked at the 2 little ones sleeping soundly. This warm, toasty smell. Could it be that they had queued up in front of a barbecue place and just picked up the scent? A wave of profound helplessness washed over Yu Hyeon-gyeong. The enormous debt was pressing down on him so hard he could barely breathe. He couldn't even feed his younger brothers properly. How on earth was he supposed to get out of this hell? To him, it was almost an impossible task. And as for the relationship between Seo Jae-u and the 2 little brats, it had suddenly become close ever since that barbecue incident. Cooking for these 2 little brats had become his fixed daily routine. He also wanted to cook for Yu Hyeon-gyeong, but every time he saw Yu Hyeon-gyeong, the man's brows were always furrowed. Seo Jae-u only hoped that Yu Hyeon-gyeong would stop hating him. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong left home before dawn every day and only came back in the middle of the night, so they almost never ran into each other. Yet, when he saw the 2 little brats gradually getting chubbier, an inexplicable sense of accomplishment rose in his heart. The changes in his 2 younger brothers were also noticed by Yu Hyeon-gyeong, who, when he came back at night, looked at their sleeping faces. The kids seemed to have put on a bit of weight, and their skin looks more tender too. What was even stranger was that the food at home was almost untouched. Who on earth was taking care of them? Since he happened to have a day off tomorrow, he planned to secretly observe. When Yang woke up in the morning, the air was filled with the aroma of doenjang stew. This should be drifting over from next door. Lowering his head to glance at his younger brothers still sound asleep beside him, a thought flashed through Yu Hyeon-gyeong's mind. I should cook for them too. The next second, a sudden knock sounded at the door. "Kids, the food is ready." The familiar voice made Yu Hyeon-gyeong jolt on the spot. He looked in confusion at the 2 who still had their eyes closed, sleeping. As if having guessed something, he strode straight to the door. When the door opened, the person who appeared at the entrance was Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Seo Jae-u froze on the spot, unable to say even a single word, until Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared at him warily and asked twice in a row, "What are you looking for them for?" Seo Jae-u finally came back to his senses, awkwardly scratching the back of his head as he stammered an explanation. I was just calling them to eat." Yu Hyeon-gyeong raised an eyebrow, his tone turning even colder. "Eat what?" But Seo Jae-u foolishly started describing what dishes he had cooked today. Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't tell whether he was really dumb or just playing stupid. His brows furrowed tighter and tighter, his tone full of impatience, and the hostility in his eyes growing heavier. "I didn't ask what you cooked. I asked, why should they eat the food you make?" This question completely stumped Seo Jae-u. He stammered for a long time before finally squeezing out, "Because they're hungry." In Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyes, this was clearly ulterior motives. Folding his arms, he gave a cold warning. "There's no need. Please don't interfere in my younger brother's business." But Seo Jae-u suddenly remembered how those 2 little brats had looked the first time he saw them. So skinny it was scary. He unconsciously clenched his fists and pushed back. "They're that thin. How could I possibly just ignore it?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared straight at him without saying a word. Yet, looking at the pleading expression on the person in front of him, he actually spaced out for a moment, suddenly feeling that Seo Jae-u was a bit dazzling. What was going on? This long face actually looked like a little puppy that could whimper. When he came back to his senses, he immediately turned around and slammed the door shut with a bang. His voice was filled with a panic that had suddenly surged up. "Anyway, My family affairs are none of your business. Outside the door, only Seo Jae-u was left standing there, his face full of regret. And inside, Yu Hyeon-gyeong only felt that he had gone crazy. His face burned little by little. He couldn't figure out why he had just now thought that Seo Jae-u was cute. The more he thought about it, the more annoyed he became, and he ground his teeth as he reminded himself. Get a grip, Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Once he had composed himself and looked up, he saw the two little brats curled up under the blanket. His temper flared up again. He had clearly warned them not to talk to Seo Jae-u. The two little brats listened to their brother's scolding, feeling terribly wronged. They understood all the reasoning, but the food he made was just too delicious. Seeing the confused look on their brother's face, they weren't angry at all. Instead, they got even more excited and immediately started talking about the food Seo Jae-u had cooked for them. Right? He had also taught them how to wash their faces, helped them wash their clothes, and even let them bathe in hot water. He had arranged everything. The two younger brothers became more and more animated as they spoke, talking only about how Seo Jae-u took care of them. Clothes, laundry, meals. The questions in Yu Hyeon-gyeong's heart grew heavier. What on earth is he trying to do? Besides, it's not like he's some snail spirit girl. A man had transmigrated, and what he ended up as was the vicious second young master of the palace in a novel. In order not to be killed someday by the Gong one who would eventually appear, he could only rack his brains to curry favor with the male lead who was even more Gong than himself, Seo. So Seo Jae-u simply turned into a snail girl, turning on feeding mode for Yu Hyeon-gyeong's whole family. The two younger brothers were quickly and completely won over by Seo Jae-u's cooking. In the end, Yu Hyeon-gyeong still opened the door. Let's talk. What exactly is your goal? Seo Jae-u certainly couldn't say he just didn't want to die. He could only say that he simply wanted to cook for them, his expression looking all guilty. It was hard for Yu Hyeon-gyeong not to suspect. He must have some ulterior motive. He directly took out his wallet, ready to pay back the money for the meals. Seo Jae-u was stunned on the spot. It's just a meal. Why pay money? Yu Hyeon-gyeong's tone was very persistent. How much? But Seo Jae-u refused to take it no matter what, while Yu Hyeon-gyeong forcefully stuffed the bills into his hand. Seo Jae-u was shaking with anger. I already said I won't take it. Damn it, you're just too strong. Yu Hyeon-gyeong turned to leave, and Seo Jae-u hurriedly grabbed the hem of his clothes, wanting to keep him for dinner. Unsurprisingly, he was rejected. Seo Jae-u held up the bill that had been crumpled in his hand. Haven't you already paid for the meal? Yu Hyeon-gyeong was completely stunned by that one sentence. The children were so happy they were dancing with joy. After all, Uncle's cooking was just too unfairly good. In the end, Yu Hyeon-gyeong still sat down at the dining table. He looked at the endlessly chattering Seo Jae-u, and at each bite that Seo Jae-u brought to his lips, the tips of Yu Hyeon-gyeong's ears grew hot, and he awkwardly picked up the spoon. He hadn't expected it to be this delicious. This taste was like the food his grandmother used to make. It was a flavor that existed only in happy memories. Before he knew it, his eyes were stinging. Seo Jae-u was startled. What's wrong? It's not good? It can't be so bad it makes you cry, right? No, that's not it. Hearing his answer, Seo Jae-u's smile bloomed like a flower. Really? Then eat some more. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared at his face, suddenly a little dazed. Lately, he kept feeling that Seo Jae-u was no longer the same Seo Jae-u as before. It wasn't just his looks. Even what was inside felt like a different person, though that thought was ridiculous. But the food he made was really delicious. After sending the two little ones off, drowsiness slowly washed over Yu Hyeon-gyeong. This guy was still tirelessly refilling his bowl. Having successfully fed him, Seo Jae-u was in an extremely good mood. Are you full? Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked at him absent-mindedly. I'm full. Was he possessed by something? The kind of I'll die if I'm not fed type. And when he smiles, he really looks like a puppy. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyelids grew heavier and heavier. Why is he being so nice to me? Is he trying to trap me by some other means? He had clearly decided to avoid him. Yet, in the end, he still couldn't fight off his drowsiness. Seo Jae-u subconsciously pulled Yu Hyeon-gyeong into his arms. He hurriedly felt Yu Hyeon-gyeong's forehead, his heartbeat stumbling. Scared him to death. Thankfully, there was no fever. He had simply fallen asleep. In the end, Seo Jae-u carried him back to his own room. The heated floor was on in the room. Seo Jae-u stared at Yu Hyeon-gyeong's sleeping face, only hoping he would warm up quickly. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was woken up by the heat. He tossed and turned, but couldn't find the switch for the electric blanket anywhere. Only then did he realize he was actually sleeping in Seo Jae-u's room. No wonder it was so warm. The heating must be on. He jolted fully awake and clutched his head in frustration. I fell asleep here? When? No way. I just made a huge scene with him this morning. And yet, as soon as he finished eating, he turned around and took over the guy's bed. His face instantly burned red. He quietly pushed open the bedroom door. Was he up? He was already moving very quietly. But Seo Jae-u still saw him. Did you sleep well? His smile was utterly sincere. Yu Hyeon-gyeong could only blush and nod. As the atmosphere slowly relaxed, Seo Jae-u was already thinking about taking another step forward in his heart. That's great. You looked really tired and slept very deeply. We're having stir-fried pork for dinner. Yu Hyeon-gyeong awkwardly replied, I didn't even ask. Seo Jae-u didn't mind at all. What does that matter? Knowing what's for dinner makes you look forward to it more. A thought flashed through his mind. He would soon be able to eat a hot meal. Yu Hyeon-gyeong unconsciously swallowed. Only then did he realize it and immediately bit his lower lip. Don't let him throw you off. He shoved his hands into his pockets and forced a cold expression. Thank you for inviting me, but I'll pass on dinner. Who knew how long this kind of friendly trick of his would last? That's right. Turning down this kind of kindness that expected nothing in return was the right thing to do. But as soon as he got home, what greeted him again was that damp air and the icy room, and the two little ones with bright, shining eyes. Hyung, we heard we're having stir-fried pork tonight. It's definitely going to be delicious. A trace of complexity flitted through Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyes. In the end, he still tightened his grip on his younger brother's small hand. You've been craving meat? Then tomorrow your big brother will go buy some. For today, try to endure it a little. Okay? The little one asked what they were having for dinner today, puffing up his cheeks in anger. Yu Hyeon-gyeong had only gotten as far as saying instant noodles when it was interrupted by the little one's rejection. He even flipped the instant noodles over in a fit of pique. Pa, I said I don't want it. Seeing his brother's movement freeze, the little one immediately panicked. Gidge, I'm sorry. Hugging the soiled bedding, Yu Hyeon-gyeong just felt so tired. He had thought things would get a little better after he became an adult, but it turned out to be just as awful. Suddenly, someone turned off the faucet. Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked up and met Seo Jae-u's gaze head-on. In an instant, the scene of being scolded by him flashed through his mind. Oh, you think water is free? The rent is only 1,200 yuan. Whose water are you wasting like that? He instinctively tightened his grip on the quilt. Seo Jae-u didn't like him using water for too long. He had to hurry and apologize. The first thing he said was actually this. He looked up again, only to be met with a smile on Seo Jae-u's face. What was going on? Why is it different from what I imagined? Yu Hyeon-gyeong awkwardly averted his gaze. There's no need for you to worry. It would be better if he were like before. Despicable, filthy. He's only treating him as a toy now too. Isn't he? Why on earth are you treating me like this? He finally asked it out loud. But Seo Jae-u only looked regretful. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's defenses completely collapsed. He was shaking with anger. Do I look funny to you? Are you being this good to me because you want to trick me into following you again like last time? You're really despicable, really filthy. Do you know that? Faced with his anger and curses, Seo Jae-u not only didn't feel anything, he even kind of wanted to laugh. Already this old and still this naive. After all, the person he'd possessed was the ultimate scumbag, Seo Jae-u. And this is all he can come up with to yell at me? His face all red while he was still angry. Really very cute. After Yu Hyeon-gyeong finished yelling, he regretted it. Had he just lost control? He actually talked to the landlord like that. What if Seo Jae-u kicked him out? What was even stranger was that not only did Seo Jae-u not get angry, he even bent down to pick up that soaked quilt. Even the cotton inside is wet. Do you guys have any extra blankets? Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze on the spot. How is he not angry at all? Acting like nothing had happened, Seo Jae-u rolled up the quilt and stood up. Give it to me. I'll wash it in the washing machine. In a daze, Yu Hyeon-gyeong loosened his grip. Even after taking the quilt away, Seo Jae-u still didn't stop. Your shoes are wet too. Come over and take them off to dry. Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered his head and looked at his own dripping wet shoes. His face turned even redder. It's fine. It's so cold right now, hurry up. You'll catch a cold if you're not careful. Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly froze. Was Seo Jae-u angry just now because of this? In the end, he still obediently did as he was told. He took the clean towel that was handed to him. Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't have time to call out to him. Seo Jae-u had already carried over a fluffy quilt. Here you go. Use this one until the original is dry. The soft feeling against his palm made his mind wander again. Seeing him stand there motionless, Seo Jae-u's tone sank a little. What are you going to pay for the cleaning again this time? Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered his head even more. I'm sorry, but Seo Jae-u laughed. So you do know you were in the wrong. He looked like a sulky little puppy. Yu Hyeon-gyeong lifted his hand. wanting to pat his head. But just as his fingertips were about to touch, Seo Jae-u suddenly snapped back to his senses. He drew his hand back and hurried to change the subject. "Oh, right. Have you eaten yet? He'll probably hate it if I touch him. I almost ruined everything." He had originally wanted to say, "I was planning to have instant noodles." But in the end, he swallowed the words back down. Seo Jae-u suddenly leaned closer and whispered, "I made too much food. Let's eat together." A man enters a novel and becomes that vicious second prince of the palace, wanting only to avoid the final tragic death awaiting him. Before the first prince, the one who would one day kill him, appears, he decides to soften the main character with food first. The first meal had just barely opened the door to some contact, but when he invited him a second time, he was coldly rejected again. Seo Jae-u stared listlessly at the huge spread of dinner laid out on the table. How can he do this so that Yu Hyeon-gyeong doesn't feel pressured, yet slowly raises his favorability? So early the next morning, Seo Jae-u simply wrapped himself in a quilt and slept outside the house. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was stunned on the spot. How could anyone sleep outside in such cold weather? His curiosity pushed him step by step closer. But when he stared at Seo Jae-u's perfectly handsome sleeping face, his whole body just froze. He'd heard that Seo Jae-u had once been about to debut as an idol. Looks like that really wasn't an exaggeration. And yet Seo Jae-u was still mumbling in his sleep. "Stir-fried pork." The next second he jolted awake, instead scaring Yu Hyeon-gyeong into a flinch. Their eyes met, and the air instantly grew a bit more awkward. Yu Hyeon-gyeong reacted like he'd been caught red-handed, and turned around in a panic, wanting to leave. Seo Jae-u hurriedly called out to stop him, but his foot slipped, and he fell straight into Yu Hyeon-gyeong's arms, the two of them even spinning half a circle in place. With his face stiff, Seo Jae-u squeezed out a quiet line, "Thank you." Holding him, Yu Hyeon-gyeong felt even more awkward, and could only reply stiffly, Seo Jae-u immediately pulled a lunchbox out from his arms. "This is for you. Jae, just think of it as a thank you gift for helping me up." Yu Hyeon-gyeong was even more bewildered. He clearly hadn't even reached out to help yet, but Seo Jae-u was already holding the lunchbox, wasn't he? In the end, Seo Jae-u shoved the lunchbox into his hands, turned around and left without looking back. Halfway there, he even turned around, forcing himself to act angry. "If you don't take it, I'll throw it away. You have to take it." Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered his head and looked at the lunchbox, completely stunned. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared blankly at the lunchbox in his hands. If he didn't take it, it would be thrown away? In the end, he still let out a sigh. He picked up the lunchbox and went straight to his part-time job. It was the first time his coworkers had ever seen Yu Hyeon-gyeong bring his own meal. "What's going on? Your girlfriend made it." "No." "Then your parents?" "Still not." All Yu Hyeon-gyeong could do was feel helpless. Their curious stares made the pressure skyrocket. "Hurry up and open it. I'm dying to know." Only when they saw the stir-fried pork inside did the man next to him look disappointed. Turns out it really wasn't made by a girlfriend. It was more like the cooking of a grandma. "Look at this rice, packed to the brim." Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyes reddened slightly, yet the corners of his mouth uncontrollably lifted into a small smile. It was delicious. He would make stir-fried pork for his younger brothers that night too. As soon as he got off work, Yu Hyeon-gyeong went to buy pork and took it home. But when his gaze fell on the lunchbox, he froze again. What exactly did it mean for that person to suddenly do all this? Was it sympathy? Whatever it means, he couldn't just let himself get used to it like this. A man suddenly appeared and directly ruined his good mood. "I paid off the interest a long time ago." The man's smile was broad, but laced with ill intent. "That's not why I came today." "Yes, sir. Your father has caused trouble again." As he spoke, he raised his phone to show Yu Hyeon-gyeong the latest interest. "Look, this is the amount. From now on, you have to transfer money every month." Yu Hyeon-gyeong was so angry his hands were shaking. Is this amount even reasonable?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong slammed his fist angrily against the wall, but the man remained calm. "Of course it's reasonable. Our interest rates are just high." Yu Hyeon-gyeong's expression grew even darker. The other man leaned in beside his ear, chuckling. "That job I mentioned last time. Think it over again." He lowered his voice. "Think about your younger brothers. You need to make a lot of money if you want to keep things afloat, don't you?" He suddenly caught sight of the bag in Yu Hyeon-gyeong's hand and couldn't help but let out a snicker. "Bought meat." His tone was so light it stung. "No money and you're eating this much. Enjoy it. This might be the last time you ever eat meat." The man walked away, but Yu Hyeon-gyeong still couldn't stop trembling, as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. Just as he got home, He ran into Seo Jae-u's bright, smiling face. Finished the lunchbox? Yu Hyeon-gyeong let out a muffled Seo Jae-u noticed the raw meat he was carrying in his hand. But even more striking was the wound on the back of his hand. He directly grabbed Yu Hyeon-gyeong's wrist. Where did this injury come from? Let's disinfect it first. Seo Jae-u's voice was very steady. The wound will get infected. This time, Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't refuse. Seo Jae-u carefully disinfected it for him. His movement so light it was as if he was afraid of breaking him. Did something happen outside? That doesn't look like it was from a fall. Seo Jae-u's gaze darkened. Don't tell me. That bastard father of yours came looking for you again? After a long silence, Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally spoke. I need to take on a few more part-time jobs. Seo Jae-u froze at once. You already have enough. The convenience store, the restaurant, the bar, and you still deliver food whenever you have time. And you want to add more. His voice tightened. Even if you push yourself like this, most of the money you earn still. The pressure on Yu Hyeon-gyeong was so suffocating it was like he'd been forced into a corner. It's not enough. Still not enough. No matter what, I have to get a few more jobs. Seeing his emotions on the verge of spiraling out of control, Seo Jae-u pulled him straight into his arms. He soothed him like coaxing a child, gently patting Yu Hyeon-gyeong's back. Slow down, catch your breath first. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face was flushed bright red, tears streaming uncontrollably. And in his ears only Seo Jae-u's gentle voice remained, pulling him back again and again. It's okay, it'll be okay. Seo Jae-u himself didn't even know what exactly had happened. To be driven to this point, it was the first time he had seen Yu Hyeon-gyeong so fragile. The wound must hurt a lot, right? What was even more troublesome was, what on earth did he have to do for Yu Hyeon-gyeong to finally lower his guard and be willing to rely on him? Yu Hyeon-gyeong secretly stole a glance at Seo Jae-u. He couldn't figure out why Seo Jae-u would have that kind of expression on his face. He suddenly jerked his hand back, and his tone instantly turned much colder. Thank you for helping me treat the wound. My part-time shift is starting. I have to go. Seo Jae-u was stunned. You're this badly injured, and you're still going to your part-time job? But that huge debt simply didn't allow Yu Hyeon-gyeong a moment to breathe. No matter how exhausted he was, he could only go. Seeing that Yu Hyeon-gyeong was about to get up and leave, Seo Jae-u directly grabbed his forearm in one swift motion. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's balance faltered, and he was pushed down onto the bed by him. But there wasn't a trace of impure thought in Seo Jae-u's mind. He simply said in a low voice, "Tell me the address of your part-time job." Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked utterly stunned, his whole body frozen. Feeling dizzy, Yu Hyeon-gyeong still reported the address to him. Seo Jae-u firmly pressed him down. Close your eyes and rest. The next second, he softened his voice and gently steadied his panic. I'll go. Don't worry. Get some sleep. Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally stopped struggling, only noticing that Seo Jae-u's hand was icy cold. It felt so comfortable. His eyelids slowly grew heavy. On the way to his part-time job, Seo Jae-u kept thinking, what exactly should I do to truly help Yu Hyeon-gyeong? The first way was to stay by his side, watching over him and supporting him. This would have the smallest impact on the novel's ending. The second was to give all his assets to Yu Hyeon-gyeong to pay off the debts. But if he did that, you would definitely warily ask in a cold voice, are you trying to buy me? The third option was to borrow the power of the law. But in this novel, the two male leads only meet because of the debt. If the debt disappears, they would no longer have any connection. If Yu Hyeon-gyeong's happy future really gets shattered, then what? It was too hard. He finally arrived at the bar where he worked part-time. But just as he opened his mouth to say, I'm here to cover the shift, the other party cut him off. Yu Hyeon-gyeong is already on his way. I'm sorry, I'm late. He looked up and bumped right into Seo Jae-u's annoyed face. Didn't I tell you to take a rest? Yu Hyeon-gyeong avoided his gaze, his ears turning red. I'll go get changed right away and come out immediately. Seo Jae-u frowned even more deeply. Just look at him, obviously trying to change the subject. So stubborn. He's clearly not feeling well and still came. But just sending him back like this feels unwilling. Then let's have a drink. By the time Yu Hyeon-gyeong came out and started working, Seo Jae-u had already ordered a cocktail. A drink that looked strong just at a glance. Seo Jae-u raised his glass. It's fine. I can really hold my liquor. While Yu Hyeon-gyeong was busy working, Seo Jae-u kept sneaking glances at him. He'd obviously long known he was good-looking, but once he dressed up, he was almost excessively handsome. He hadn't had alcohol in so long, yet it actually tasted pretty good. Not long after, Seo Jae-u ordered a second glass. By the time Yu Hyeon-gyeong got off work, he was already so drunk he wasn't even conscious. He was still wobbling his glass, wanting another drink. but he was so drunk he couldn't even lift his head. Yu Hyeon-gyeong sighed and reached out to lift his face. Seo Jae-u's face was burning red as he giggled foolishly. It's Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Staring at his face, Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze for a moment, then called softly. Seo Jae-u. The drunk Seo Jae-u still had quite a bit of strength, and he directly grabbed Yu Hyeon-gyeong's wrist. Why are you calling my full name? Call me Brother Yu. Feeling his burning, straightforward gaze, Yu Hyeon-gyeong hesitated a little. So sudden? Brother Yu, hurry up and call me Brother Yu. Urged by him again and again, Yu Hyeon-gyeong blushed and softly called him Brother Yu. With his wish fulfilled, Seo Jae-u laughed happily. Yes, just like that. From now on you have to call me Brother Yu. But he was still grinning 1 second, and the next second he suddenly collapsed, going completely still. Carrying him on his back, Yu Hyeon-gyeong knew he was thin, but he hadn't expected that he would feel this light. Suddenly, Seo Jae-u turned over on his back. Right after that, he wrapped his arms even tighter around Yu Hyeon-gyeong, pressing so close that Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help blushing. His breath fell directly against Yu Hyeon-gyeong's neck. In the next second, the tips of Yu Hyeon-gyeong's ears flushed red at once. It tickles. A straight man transmigrates into a novel as the second young master of the palace, wanting only to avoid the original setting where the scumbag dies miserably. He desperately tries to bring warmth to the male lead, but the more he teases, the deeper he sinks, without even realizing it himself. As for Yu Hyeon-gyeong's feelings toward him, that initial disgust and rejection had long since disappeared. The nape of his neck was filled with the heat of the other man's breath, and the tips of Yu Hyeon-gyeong's ears suddenly burned. Seo Jae-u slowly woke up, dazed with alcohol, frowned and asked, "Who is this?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong gently set him down. Seo Jae-u saw his face clearly and immediately grinned foolishly. "It's Hyeon-gyeong. Hey, Hyeon-gyeong." Yu Hyeon-gyeong hurriedly made a shoe gesture. "It's the middle of the night. Keep it down." Seo Jae-u clumsily copied him. "I know. Keep it down. Keep it down." Seeing him so silly, Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help it and let out a quiet laugh. But the next second, Seo Jae-u threw himself straight into his arms, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong's body went rigid in an instant. Seo Jae-u foolishly leaned in close to his ear. "I got a great idea. I'm pretty well off, so I'll pay off your debt for you. Okay? How about it?" Hearing this clearly, Yu Hyeon-gyeong's expression instantly darkened. So all that sudden gentleness and closeness had this as the goal? In this world, no one is good to you for no reason after all. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stiffly turned his head aside, his voice very cold. "So as the price, you want me to sell myself to you?" But Seo Jae-u suddenly clenched his fists. The next second, he forced down his anger yet still shouted loudly, "Sell what sell? What are you thinking?" Staring at Yu Hyeon-gyeong, Seo Jae-u raised his hand and slapped him twice, his voice trembling with urgency. Baida has to be nicer to himself. Baida has to cherish his body. Baida must not do this kind of bad thing. Yu Hyeon-gyeong grabbed his wrist in one motion, grievance almost written all over his face. "Then why are you treating me like this?" Staring at Seo Jae-u's face, he only wanted to ask one question. "Why on earth are you being so good to me for no reason? Is it pity? If it is, that's even more annoying, especially coming from this person." Seo Jae-u frowned, his face full of confusion. "What?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong yanked his hand back. "Spare me the pity. I don't need it." Only then did Seo Jae-u seem as if doused with cold water, sobering up a little as he watched him turn around and leave. Is that what he thinks? But that's not what I meant at all. Panicking, he started banging his head against the wall. The dull thudding came from behind, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong immediately stopped in his tracks. Hearing those repeated thuds, Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly turned back, suppressing his anger. "Why are you over there banging your head against the wall?" Seo Jae-u began to reflect on himself. "Well, if it were me and someone treated me like a pitiful wretch, I'd be upset too." The next second, someone grabbed his arm. "Aren't you going home?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong's cool voice made him breathe a sigh of relief. "Right, I'm just a little dizzy." He didn't really ignore me either. Looking at his dazed face, Yu Hyeon-gyeong let her fingertips slide quietly down from his wrist and finally directly held his hand. Feeling Yu Hyeon-gyeong's gaze fall on him, the corners of his eyes flushed slightly red. "Didn't you say you were dizzy? Follow me and be careful." The warmth from the palm slowly seeped through, and Seo Jae-u couldn't help but grin foolishly. He was really so kind. As soon as they got home, Seo Jae-u pounced straight onto the bed. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was just about to leave when Seo Jae-u yanked his sleeve. "Hyeon-gyeong, sleep with me," he said. His tone as pure as a child's invitation. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong panicked all of a sudden, his mind going blank. What did he mean by that? It wasn't until he saw Seo Jae-u impatiently pat the space on the bed that Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally reacted. It really was just simply sleeping. He scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. "You go to sleep. I'll head out first." As soon as the door closed, Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help but sigh. From now on, I absolutely can't let Seo Jae-u drink again. Drinking to this state, he'll definitely feel awful tomorrow. There's still a bit of time before his next part-time shift. Without even thinking about it, he turned around and went to the kitchen. When he woke up the next day, Seo Jae-u just felt like his head was about to explode. He'd gone down after only 2 cocktails. This body's alcohol tolerance was way too bad. He had completely blacked out about what happened last night. He suddenly caught sight of the bowl of cooked soup on the table. Could it be the one I made before going to bed? But whether it was the appearance or the taste, it wasn't like his. Then it could only be the one Hyeon-gyeong cooked before leaving? This answer made Seo Jae-u's chest go soft, as if his whole being had been struck. Such an upright and kind person. Yet in the future, he has to fall into an even more painful, more tragic ending. Even if it's just a novel, that's far too cruel. Click. Even if he can't be of much help right now, he still has to think of something. At the very least, he has to make sure Yu Hyeon-gyeong can eat properly. He then remembered how drunk he'd been last night. Did I go crazy from the alcohol? I should go and ask Hyeon-gyeong. As soon as Yu Hyeon-gyeong pushed the door open, he saw Seo Jae-u and clearly froze for a moment. Thinking of last night, Seo Jae-u felt a bit uncomfortable. Sorry to trouble you yesterday. I seem to have blacked out. I didn't make a drunken scene, did I? Yu Hyeon-gyeong sat down right beside him, lowering his voice. A drunken scene? Of course he did. Seo Jae-u's expression instantly darkened. He couldn't help holding his head in distress. Damn it, if this keeps up, the little bit of favorability he has left is going to collapse. Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly grabbed his hand. Don't be like that. You just sang really loudly. That's all. Though you really did scare me. You also hit me a few times, though it didn't hurt, and you banged your head against the wall, even pulling me along with you. Yet what suddenly flashed through his mind was the scene of him inviting him to sleep together. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face suddenly flushed red, and the words were forcibly stuck in her throat. In the end, under Seo Jae-u's trembling gaze, she only squeezed out one sentence. "It's nothing." Seo Jae-u let out a sigh, still feeling guilty. "I'm really sorry. I said I'd go over to help you, but I ended up causing you trouble instead. I'm really very sorry." Looking at how guilty he seemed, Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help but let out a small laugh. "It's okay, I've seen a lot of drunk people. Compared to them, you're already very restrained." Seeing her smile, Seo Jae-u finally felt relieved. It seems there shouldn't be any big problem. Then should I take this chance to try bringing up that plan? In the end, he awkwardly scratched his cheek. "Sorry, Hyeon-gyeong, for suddenly bringing this up. Could you maybe pay a bit more for the monthly rent?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong's expression instantly turned cold, even tinged with disgust. "Just as I thought. I clearly told myself not to expect anything, yet it still turned out like this. So you've been treating me so well lately, just to raise the rent." Seo Jae-u hurried to explain that it wouldn't go up by much. Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered her eyes, looking visibly dejected. "How much?" Seo Jae-u raised his hand and indicated a number. 180 yuan. However, he would cover 3 meals a day. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was stunned. "Why?" Smiling, Seo Jae-u explained, "I've recently taken a liking to cooking and have been experimenting with lots of new dishes. I often end up making too much food, and it feels like such a waste to throw it away, so I thought, why not give it to someone else to eat?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong frowned slightly. "By doing this, won't you suffer a loss?" Seo Jae-u denied it almost without a pause, which only made Yu Hyeon-gyeong feel even more conflicted. Although the rent increase was a bit stressful, being able to cover 3 meals a day with just 180 yuan. No matter how you calculated it, it wasn't a loss. Yu Hyeon-gyeong then nodded. Seo Jae-u was clearly delighted. "Then starting next month, the rent will be 1,380 yuan. Now that he finally had a perfectly legitimate reason to feed them, Seo Jae-u only had one thing on his mind: make them put on some weight. He bought a bag full of groceries. As he passed the alley, his pupils suddenly froze. Kang Moo-jin, why is the male lead appearing here? According to the original setting, he is the first Yandere in this novel, and he isn't supposed to show up at this point in time. He should appear during the most difficult days when Yu Hyeon-gyeong's debts keep snowballing and she's on the verge of collapse. In the original plot, Yu Hyeon-gyeong would discover the injured and unconscious Kang Moo-jin in an alley. That would be the first appearance of the first Yandere. Then Yu Hyeon-gyeong would take him home to treat his wounds, and Kang Moo-jin would naturally start to have good feelings toward Yu Hyeon-gyeong. And during this period, the scumbag male supporting character, Seo Jae-u, would just happen to do a series of disgusting things to Yu Hyeon-gyeong. It would be equivalent to personally setting up his own death flag. Just thinking of this made Seo Jae-u's head start to ache. From their first meeting to confirming their feelings and finally heading toward a happy ending, those two are indeed great. But before that, Yu Hyeon-gyeong would suffer a lot. So Seo Jae-u only hopes that Kang Moo-jin can appear a bit later. Yet when he personally saw the unconscious Kang Moo-jin lying in the alley, Seo Jae-u spent the whole day dazed, as if the power had been cut off. But the most important thing is still to feed them first. Yu Hyeon-gyeong should meet Kang Moo-jin on her way home and then bring him back. In any case, make a bit more food. Kang Moo-jin is in bad shape, so cooking some porridge is the safest option. Yet the moment he thought about taking care of his love rival soon, Seo Jae-u instead felt that maybe just rice soaked in boiling water would be more appropriate. The question is, will Mad Dog number 1 like rice soaked in barley tea? Should he add some premium water to make it look a bit more dignified? In the early hours of that day, Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally came back. He turned around at once, ready to go back to his room to rest. Seo Jae-u instantly stopped feeling sleepy. Did you not pick anything up on your way back? Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze. What? Seo Jae-u panicked even more. You really didn't pick anything up? Yu Hyeon-gyeong frowned. Was I supposed to pick something up? Seo Jae-u stiffened on the spot. In the end, he clenched his fists and forced out 2 words. Pick someone. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was completely charmed by his blank, cute expression. His eyes were full of, how adorable. Pick someone up? Yes, a person. But Seo Jae-u couldn't say it. That's the person you'll date in the future. Instead, Yu Hyeon-gyeong directly caught hold of Seo Jae-u's wrist and stared at him intently. This neighborhood isn't very safe. You have to be careful when you walk through the alley. Don't just bring random people home. Of course, Seo Jae-u knew that. But Kang Moo-jin, Yu Hyeon-gyeong raised his hand and tapped him lightly on the forehead, his tone unconsciously tinged with affection. This kind of thing is really dangerous. Why don't you understand that yet? Go back to sleep. Seo Jae-u mumbled an "oh" in a daze. But he still woke up early. He just couldn't feel at ease about it. He had to confirm with his own eyes whether Kang Moo-jin was actually there or not. Gasping for breath, he rushed toward the alley. Kang Moo-jin was still unconscious, lying there quietly. Seo Jae-u just found it absurd. Someone had actually collapsed here for a whole day and night, and no one lent a hand. Heh. Looks like Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't see him at all. Seo Jae-u quietly moved his feet away. According to the novel's plot, Yu Hyeon-gyeong was supposed to be the one who found him and took him back. If he meddled, the storyline would go off track and that would be troublesome. Better go home first. A straight man ended up in a novel and even became the vicious supporting male character. The novel had arranged for him to be the second male lead, Gong. But Hee Pen-yeol insists on taking the route of the main bottom protagonist instead. The Gong number 1 whom the main bottom protagonist was supposed to run into by chance was discovered by him first. In order not to fall into Gong number 1's hands, Seo Jae-u directly switched on a crazy feeding mode toward the whole main bottom protagonist's family. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared at the lavish breakfast spread before him, completely stunned. 180 yuan isn't even enough to cover the vegetables, right? And this is what you call leftovers? Seo Jae-u, however, continued to spout nonsense with a straight face. They are leftovers. Cooking helps me relieve stress. Hurry up and eat, eat. Yu Hyeon-gyeong saw through it at a glance. This had never happened before. And how did this look anything like radish soup? It was clearly more like beef soup with so much meat it was about to spill over. Yet the soup's texture was both rich and refreshing. When he looked up, he crashed right into that kindly smile of Seo Jae-u's. Is this what a mom feels like? Seo Jae-u picked up a piece of marinated beef and tasted it. This is well seasoned too. You should try some as well. Watching him like this, Yu Hyeon-gyeong unconsciously blushed. With a bit of silliness, he chewed in big bites. So how is it? Not bad, right? Seo Jae-u's eyes were full of anticipation. Lowering his voice, Yu Hyeon-gyeong asked, "This is beef, right?" Seo Jae-u thought he didn't like it and immediately stammered, "Why yes, it is. I'd only had pork before." Savoring the taste of the beef, Yu Hyeon-gyeong realized for the first time that compared to pork, he liked marinated beef more. In no time, the bowl was empty. Seo Jae-u reached out, wanting to ladle him another bowl of rice. This time, Yu Hyeon-gyeong did not push away this kindness. While serving the rice, Seo Jae-u kept thinking about Gong Il in the alley. "By the way, what time are you coming back today? Will it be very late?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't think much of it at all. "I'll be back before dinner." But Seo Jae-u was clearly distracted. "I see. Is it really okay to just leave an injured person in an alley like that? The worst part is, will he stay there the whole time, waiting for Yu Hyeon-gyeong to come back and take him away? Won't anyone call the police? If he just disappears like that, it'll be a real headache." Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't seem to care at all. which only made Seo Jae-u more annoyed. Weren't the two of them supposed to develop a romantic storyline? At this rate, how was the plot supposed to move forward? Could it be that they were only going to meet next time? Wouldn't that mean this whole thing had to happen again? Or did he remember it wrong? But even in a novel world, there was no way Kang Moo-jin could be that badly injured twice. With no other choice, Seo Jae-u could only remind her once more. On your way back, take a good look at that alley. Okay? Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked even more confused. In the alley, Seo Jae-u's expression was very serious as he leaned in a bit. Yeah, in case there's someone injured in the alley. Before he could finish, Yu Hyeon-gyeong simply put her chopsticks down. Then you call 110 or 120. Isn't that common sense? Seo Jae-u was stumped on the spot. Common sense, right? That's true. Yu Hyeon-gyeong could see something was off with him at a glance. You've been holding something in since last night. I don't know what you're trying to say, but if you see someone injured, just call the police. Don't you have a phone? Don't worry about things you shouldn't. If you end up getting yourself into trouble, you'll be the one who suffers in the end. In this day and age, who would still take an injured person home? If they turn around and accuse you instead, you'll get hurt too. What era is this? Who skips the hospital and brings them home instead? Seo Jae-u was talked to the point his head was spinning, and he even felt that what the other said was quite right, so he instead didn't know how to respond. But he's the protagonist. This can't go on. Seo Jae-u started getting anxious again. What exactly do I have to do for the plot to follow the novel? When he looked up, he saw Yu Hyeon-gyeong rolling up his sleeves, getting ready to wash the dishes. I'll clean up. You go to work. Seo Jae-u suddenly leaned in, startling Yu Hyeon-gyeong. I do have some sense of shame. And also, you really cooked very well. That clean, sunny smile of his instantly made Seo Jae-u's heartbeat go out of rhythm. Before leaving, he even reminded Seo Jae-u not to forget to take the lunchbox. Next was sending the kids to school, then coming back to check on Kang Moo-jin. After all, the guy had been beaten until he was on the verge of collapse. There was no way he could just pretend he hadn't seen it. After dropping the kids off, Seo Jae-u kept repeating to himself, I'm just going grocery shopping and taking a quick look on the way. He quietly peeked into the alley again, and sure enough, Kang Moo-jin was still lying where he had been, unconscious. How serious are these injuries? He actually still hasn't woken up. What is wrong with this neighborhood anyway? There's clearly someone lying there, and just looking at it gives you the creeps. Is he really going to just lie there until Yu Hyeon-gyeong finds him? Seo Jae-u couldn't help starting to worry about his condition. After all, he'd been lying there for a whole day. What if he really died? The thought hadn't even settled when he suddenly sensed a surge of bloodthirsty killing intent. In the next second, he happened to crash right into that icy gaze. Seo Jae-u was so scared his mouth hung open and no words came out. He woke up, Kang Moo-jin. He woke up, and of all things, locked eyes with me. Seo Jae-u's hand trembled as he pulled out his phone, forcing himself to stay calm, even though this would interrupt the fated intersection of the two male leads. Stop, Kang Moo-jin sneered. Looks like you're not afraid of the consequences? That smile made Seo Jae-u's scalp go numb. This guy was really terrifying. It's not like that. I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to call an ambulance. Kang Moo-jin didn't buy it at all. He lifted his hand and crooked a finger at Seo Jae-u. Come here. Right now, all Seo Jae-u wanted was to bolt, and it was like he had already seen right through him. The viciousness in Kang Moo-jin's eyes didn't fade one bit. If you dare run, I'll chase you, okay? Seo Jae-u was scared stiff by this half-dead act of his. At that speed, are you crawling? With his thoughts completely seen through, he could only grit his teeth and walk over unwillingly. The first thing Kang Moo-jin said was to make him put the phone down, leaving Seo Jae-u full of questions. In the end, they were all forcibly pushed back down by that gaze. The moment the phone was handed over, in the next second, the screen was smashed to pieces by him. Seo Jae-u really wanted to just smack him hard once and warn him outright, don't go around smashing other people's stuff. But this idea could only stay in his head. If he really dared to make a move, the next thing to shatter might be himself. You can't make a phone call right now, can you? Hearing the slightly smug tone in his voice, Seo Jae-u was on the verge of tears. No need to smash it. I couldn't call anyway. Before he got a response, Seo Jae-u looked up and saw his whole body flushing red, his face turning pale from the pain. Fingertips waved in front of his eyes, yet he still didn't react at all. Fainted again. Isn't this a good chance? Should I hurry up and slip away? But he looked too serious. If the male lead really died, then it would truly be over. Seo Jae-u raised his hand and touched his forehead, and instantly froze. Damn. He was burning hot enough to be terrifying. With a fever like this, is he really okay? What should I do? In the original story, his character setting was even super sensitive. But now when I touch him, he has no reaction at all. No, I have to call emergency services. Seo Jae-u turned the phone over and over, and his heart suddenly sank. The phone had been smashed to pieces by him. Then there was only one option left. Seo Jae-u took a deep breath, getting ready to pick him up, using almost all the strength in his body. But the other didn't budge an inch. Gritting his teeth, he put in even more effort before finally managing to pull him up. But getting him up was useless. I couldn't move him at all. He suddenly caught sight of a cart nearby. So, under everyone's gaze, Seo Jae-u forcibly dragged him back. Kang Moo-jin's legs were too long. No matter how he was placed, they trailed on the ground. Thankfully, he was wearing shoes, so at least his feet wouldn't get scraped directly. It was really hard to get him back home, and Seo Jae-u felt like he could barely breathe himself. But if he had left him alone back there, wouldn't that have made him a criminal? He had to hurry before the kids got out of school. Gritting his teeth, Seo Jae-u dragged him into the bedroom bit by bit. Seeing his unbroken high fever and the pain furrowing his brows, Seo Jae-u thought about loosening his belt a little. Maybe that would make him more comfortable. But as soon as he moved his hands twice, Kang Moo-jin suddenly grabbed him by the wrist. The next second, he crashed into that obviously displeased gaze. Seo Jae-u's whole body instantly went rigid. Only when he closed his eyes again did Seo Jae-u dare to slowly let out a breath. With that aura, anyone who saw him would think he was in the mob. Even if he stripped his clothes off, the fever probably wouldn't go down. He needed medicine for this. After rummaging through drawers and boxes, he finally found a bottle of medicine. But the problem was, how do you get it down someone who's unconscious? Seo Jae-u went straight for the textbook method of feeding medicine. First step, pinch his nose. But the other man's lips were clamped tightly shut. He would rather suffocate from lack of oxygen than open his mouth. Just as Seo Jae-u was about to forcibly pry his mouth open, Kang Moo-jin suddenly flipped over and pinned him underneath. One hand clamped hard around his neck. What are you trying to do? The feeling of suffocation crashed over him in an instant. Seo Jae-u hurt so much he only wanted to breathe in. Damn it. With my neck being squeezed, how am I supposed to talk? Only then did Kang Moo-jin let go, his expression even colder. Talk, quickly. Seo Jae-u's face was streaked with tears, and he sucked in several sharp breaths. I was trying to save you. Kang Moo-jin reacted as if he had heard a joke. Save who? Save me? Seo Jae-u nodded obediently, but the next second, his neck was grabbed again. Seo Jae-u clutched desperately at his collar, trying to break free, but the difference in strength was too great. It was completely useless. Yu Hyeon-gyeong happened to be coming home from work. As soon as he pushed the door open, he saw the man strangling Seo Jae-u. He rushed forward in one stride, grabbed the man by the collar and flung him aside. Then he hastily wrapped his arms around Seo Jae-u. Are you okay? Seo Jae-u greedily gulped in air, panting in broken gasps. I'm fine. Having suffered in Yu Hyeon-gyeong's hands, Kang Moo-jin was clearly even angrier. Good, very good. Then let's try this. He was just about to lunge at them viciously when his body started trembling out of his control. The next moment, he stumbled, fell to the ground in a sorry heap, and kept cursing non-stop. Seeing that mouth of his, Seo Jae-u was both shocked and furious, his heart pounding wildly. Noticing that he was still trying to get up, Yu Hyeon-gyeong frowned. Where are you going? Leave him alone. Seo Jae-u moved right up close to his face, and Kang Moo-jin thought he was about to hit him. Damn it, what exactly are you trying to do? Who's pulling the strings behind you? But in the next second, Seo Jae-u raised his hand to cover his mouth, his eyes clearly saying two words: no swearing. Kang Moo-jin was almost amused to death by what this guy chose to focus on. Seo Jae-u, however, got even angrier. He raised his hand, smacked him back down, and pinned him. If you're injured, you should act like you're injured. Lie down properly. No sooner had he spoken than a wave of dizziness came crashing down. Seo Jae-u couldn't help raising a hand to his forehead. Yu Hyeon-gyeong immediately tensed up and took out a pill bottle. Is this what you were looking for? Seo Jae-u's eyes lit up and he reached out to take it. But the hand holding the bottle was shaking so much it wouldn't stop. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's frown deepened. He simply snatched the pill bottle over in one go. Enough, I'll do it. Then what? What do I do? Seo Jae-u, however, turned his head to look at Kang Moo-jin beside him and lowered his voice. Just feed it to him. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face instantly grew even uglier. Feed who? Don't tell me it's that guy. Are you serious? Do we really need to take care of him? Seo Jae-u understood why he was mad. but being angry wouldn't change anything. He didn't want to save the man who had just tried to strangle him to death either. But he had to, because this man would decide his fate from here on out. If he wanted the story to keep moving along its track, this man had to live. Yu Hyeon-gyeong hadn't even had time to keep complaining before Kang Moo-jin opposed him with a cold face. Do you think I'll obediently drink this stuff? Who knows what it is? Yu Hyeon-gyeong was nowhere near as easygoing as Seo Jae-u. He directly clamped a hand around Kang Moo-jin's neck. He forcibly poured the medicine down Kang Moo-jin's throat and only let go after the other man actually swallowed. After all, this was someone who couldn't even tell good intentions when he saw them. Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't understand why Seo Jae-u would show kindness to such an idiot. But wasn't Yu Hyeon-gyeong the same himself? He hadn't accepted Seo Jae-u's kindness openly either, which only made it harder to watch. As for why Seo Jae-u wanted to save Kang Moo-jin, he didn't want to know, and there was no need to know. It was clearly very contradictory, but he was just inexplicably annoyed. Do you have disinfectant? Seo Jae-u nodded. But in the next second, he was reaching for the medical kit with trembling hands. Yu Hyeon-gyeong really couldn't stand watching anymore. He finally let out a sigh and directly snatched the medical kit from his hands. His movements were very practiced as he treated Kang Moo-jin's wounds. When he was done, he didn't forget to give a vicious slap to Kang Moo-jin's abdomen. The pain made Kang Moo-jin's whole body tremble. He could only feel that this person was absurd beyond belief. What are you doing? Yu Hyeon-gyeong, however, simply ignored him and finished the task. Seo Jae-u was never stingy with praise. You're amazing, you know? Just like a professional. How are you even good at something like this? Yu Hyeon-gyeong's ears burned at his blunt compliment. It's for a reason. This level is no big deal. Realizing he had touched a sore spot, Seo Jae-u immediately stopped talking. After all, Hyeon-gyeong's life had always been unstable. Even if he probably had never used a knife, never even properly handled one. Suddenly something occurred to Seo Jae-u. I'll go to the kitchen. You must be tired too. Get some rest first. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong, for once, took the initiative to speak. I'm going to stay here a little longer. Seo Jae-u went to the bathroom first. As soon as the door closed, he could no longer suppress the worry on his face. Could it be that Yu Hyeon-gyeong has already fallen for Kang Moo-jin? After all, that's how it was written in the original story. No wonder it still makes him uneasy. Kang Moo-jin was already this badly injured and could still explode with that kind of strength. You can imagine how vicious he was toward Yu Hyeon-gyeong in the original. Thinking of this made me even more panicked. Honestly, Kang Moo-jin's personality is downright vile. How could he dare lay a hand on the person who saved his life? But Seo Jae-u had also considered that maybe dying would let him return to his original world. Yet this time, he was sure that wasn't the case. Death is painful and torturous. In that second when he couldn't breathe, there was only one thought left in his mind. I want to live. Suddenly, that wave of dizziness surged up again. Right after that, his vision went black, his body lost control, and he collapsed straight down. A straight man transmigrated into a novel and became the vicious second young master of the palace. A person who was supposed to be despised by the protagonist group somehow inexplicably became the one all the big shots were scrambling to have. He was also the first person to exhaust himself to the point of fainting just to take care of someone else. Hearing the noise, Yu Hyeon-gyeong pushed the door open and came in. And at a glance he saw Seo Jae-u lying on the floor, completely unresponsive. Only when he pulled him into his arms did he realize he was just asleep. He had actually worn himself out into a dead sleep from taking care of a stranger. Unable to help himself, Yu Hyeon-gyeong gently poked his forehead. Staring at that soundly sleeping face, his gaze softened, and the corners of his lips curved as well. Seo Jae-u was awakened by a gust of cold wind. He instinctively hugged the warm source beside him tighter, and finally felt warm again. That warm touch jolted him fully awake. Seeing Yu Hyeon-gyeong's sleeping face clearly, Seo Jae-u almost cried out. He had actually been sleeping in Yu Hyeon-gyeong's arms the whole night. That hand at his waist was still wrapped tightly around him, even in sleep. How did I end up lying here? Even my neck is wrapped in bandages. It must have been Hyeon-gyeong who wrapped them, right? He clearly hated me so much at first, yet now he's willing to help me take care of my wounds. Sure enough, persistent feeding plus clinging to him like a limpet really does work. Even if he's with Kang Moo-jin now, I probably won't die, right? Who knows, I might even be able to give a speech at their wedding. Uncle? Are you awake? The little one's single sentence scared Seo Jae-u so much that he flinched on the spot. He could only respond even more awkwardly. I slept well. Good evening. What time is it now? The little one held a pencil, looking especially serious. 6 o'clock. Uncle, you fainted just now, so my brother brought you back to our house. Also, My brother said to wake him up at 6:10. Only then did Seo Jae-u realize that Yu Hyeon-gyeong had to go to work at dawn. And for him, even 10 minutes was very precious. So he quietly turned around, planning to lie down for the full 10 minutes and absolutely not wake Yu Hyeon-gyeong. But as soon as he lifted his head, he ran right into Yu Hyeon-gyeong's gaze staring straight at him. Seo Jae-u instantly felt even more embarrassed. "You're awake? Why did you bring me here?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked completely matter-of-fact. "I couldn't just leave you next to that dangerous man." Seo Jae-u actually couldn't find anything to refute. After all, Kang Moo-jin really was dangerous. He had just been about to go cook. But when he turned around, he saw Yu Hyeon-gyeong unceremoniously changing clothes right in front of him. Seo Jae-u's original words were forcibly stuck at his lips by those solid muscles, and he even met Yu Hyeon-gyeong's gaze. He almost instinctively avoided his eyes. "It's nothing," he blurted out, but his gaze uncontrollably and secretly drifted back again. Too solid. Those abs were at a level any man would envy. Did he get them from constantly doing part-time jobs and constantly working out? He then looked at his own arm, far too soft. Well, yeah, he stayed home writing all day. How could he possibly have muscles? Speaking of writing, only then did Seo Jae-u suddenly remember. Before transmigrating, he was a novelist, and being a homebody had always felt very comfortable. He had just gotten up to turn the doorknob. "You're going back by yourself?" Seo Jae-u was dumbfounded. "Huh? Yeah. Don't close the door." Seo Jae-u was even more confused. But wouldn't it be very cold like that? Yet Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly raised his voice. The door had to stay open. Seo Jae-u had no choice but to respond and leave the door wide open. He glanced at the half-dead looking Kang Moo-jin over there. Injured like that, what waves could he possibly stir up? But on second thought, seeing him curled up on the heated floor, whining and groaning like that, who would be able to tell this person is a mad one? Shouldn't a mad one stand tall and dignified even in the fire? Kang Moo-jin's brows were tightly knitted, as if his entire life were crammed full of pain. There are still countless scars on his body. That's the trace of having lived, pain or not, that he can never shake off. Each one feels like it's weighing down a story he can't forget. This time he was badly hurt too, betrayed by a subordinate he trusted. The wound itself wasn't that serious, but Kang Moo-jin was tired of it all, so he might as well grant them their wish. He suddenly thought of the shantytown where he'd lived as a child, so he came here and nothing had changed, not one bit, exactly the same as before. He had only planned to rest for a while and then leave. If that fearless kid hadn't run over, who sent him? He wanted to kill him, had meant to kill him, but failed, and then, so hot it felt like everything was about to burn. Kang Moo-jin jolted awake. The moment he opened his eyes, he came face to face with Seo Jae-u. "Can you sit up?" Bracing himself against the stabbing pain, Kang Moo-jin pushed himself upright. "Give me a second." Seo Jae-u simply dragged the low dining table over. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's and Kang Moo-jin's gazes met dead on. There was still a faint, indescribable hostility lingering in the air. Seo Jae-u had already prepared the soaked rice and kimchi, but Kang Moo-jin frowned in disgust. "This is it? You really don't know?" Barley tea poured over rice with kimchi is actually really fragrant. The domineering CEO had never eaten it before, so of course he didn't understand. Seo Jae-u handed the bowl straight to him. It's not too late to find out now. In the end, Kang Moo-jin still ate it and didn't leave a single grain. The taste was actually pretty good. Seo Jae-u suddenly stuck his head out. "Want more?" Saying nothing meant he did. Kang Moo-jin silently took the bowl and ate fast and hard. "Kids, time to eat." Following Seo Jae-u's voice, Kang Moo-jin saw another table nearby, completely covered with dishes. Seo Jae-u looked apologetic toward the children. "Sorry, it's a bit cold where we're eating today." But the little one's eyes were still shining. "It's okay, we're wearing jackets." Yu Hyeon-gyeong naturally joined in. "I'll start eating." Seo Jae-u gave a clear, bright smile. "Eat plenty." But the table on Kang Moo-jin's side was so empty it hurt to look at. He stared resentfully at that family of four, while Seo Jae-u, completely oblivious, even asked him, "Are you full?" "Yeah, I'm full. By the way, I still don't know your name." "What's your name?" "In you, Seo Jae-u." To his own surprise, Kang Moo-jin answered honestly. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong was not pleased and set her chopsticks and bowl down with a smack. "Why are you telling a stranger your name?" Seeing that he was really angry, Seo Jae-u snuck a guilty glance at him. "It's just a name. It's fine, right?" But Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared fixedly at Kang Moo-jin, hostility written all over her face. "I know what you do." Kang Moo-jin let out a cold snort and directly pulled out a business card. With a faint smile, he handed it to Seo Jae-u. "I'm in this line of work." The moment he saw the words, "Insa Financial Group," cold sweat broke out on the spot for Seo Jae-u. As a director, Kang Moo-jin is of course part of the mob. For Yu Hyeon-gyeong, this kind of third-tier finance is the absolute bottom line. He can't even brush up against it. The more Seo Jae-u thought about it, the more nervous he became, sneaking a glance at Yu Hyeon-gyeong. But the business card had already been handed over. Kang Moo-jin's identity was exposed too quickly and would only make Hyeon-gyeong even more wary. Yu Hyeon-gyeong snatched the business card away in one swift motion. He crushed it into a tight ball. Don't just accept things like this at random. Do you know how dangerous this is? With that, he tossed it straight down at his feet. This, however, ticked Kang Moo-jin off. Humph. Seeing you like this, you look kind of familiar. Where have I seen him before? Director. This is the guy who just came in to work this time. Only then did Kang Moo-jin completely remember. Seo Jae-u, however, stared anxiously at Yu Hyeon-gyeong, because the look on Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face was terrifyingly bad. This instead made Kang Moo-jin feel even more inexplicably annoyed. He unconsciously raised his hand and waved it in front of Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyes. Only then did Seo Jae-u come back to his senses. Don't you need to go to the hospital? I'm fine. Just let me have rice next time. As he spoke, he lay straight down on his back. It's fine not to go. It's just a small injury. If you're really worried about me, then get me some antibiotics. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's expression sank even more. Get what? Tell him to leave now. Seo Jae-u couldn't bear it a little. But he's hurt. If he's hurt, he should go to the hospital. I don't have to go. Then let's call an ambulance. I said I'm fine. Then get out. And what if I don't want to? Seo Jae-u watched the two of them bickering back and forth. Speechless. You two go back to your rooms first. Then I'll just drag you out by force. Go ahead and try. Seeing that no one was paying attention to him, Seo Jae-u finally lost his temper completely. He turned around and slapped at Kang Moo-jin. Knock it off. That only made Kang Moo-jin more defiant. Why are you only hitting me? Seo Jae-u, biased as he was, still felt perfectly justified. Yu Hyeon-gyeong hadn't done anything that deserved a beating. But Kang Moo-jin just laughed. Shorty, that nickname, together with that smile, made Seo Jae-u's whole body go numb. Who are you calling short? Who said I'm short? Kang Moo-jin raised his hand and covered his palm. It really is pretty small. Huh? Then he neatly put their two hands together. Look, right? Seo Jae-u stared at his smiling face and froze on the spot. The next second, Yu Hyeon-gyeong directly pulled Seo Jae-u into his arms. What are you doing? Seo Jae-u realized belatedly, and his face flushed red in an instant. He looked at the fury on Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face, who was glaring daggers at Kang Moo-jin. Seo Jae-u hurried to smooth things over. Hyeon-gyeong, I'm fine. Seeing how intimate the two of them were, Kang Moo-jin's brows furrowed slightly. Speaking of which, what exactly is the relationship between you two? Seo Jae-u immediately explained with a flushed face. Oh, of course, we're just the landlord and the tenant. After saying that, he stood up and pushed at Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Hyeon-gyeong, weren't you going to work? Go get ready. Staring at their backs, the more Kang Moo-jin watched, the more agitated he felt. Do they take me for an idiot? Since when do landlords and tenants act like that? Not to mention in this utterly rundown shantytown. He had never seen anything like it. Once they were out the door, Yu Hyeon-gyeong was still angry. Seo Jae-u, you really have no sense of danger at all. A normal person wouldn't just pick up someone who fainted by the roadside and bring him home. Seo Jae-u said helplessly. I normally don't pick them up either. Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally let out a sigh in the end. Inside finance is basically a gangster business. As long as it makes money, they'll do anything, so before he could even finish, Seo Jae-u lifted his hand and lightly patted his arm. I'm never going to be in a situation where I need to borrow money, so don't worry. Yu Hyeon-gyeong really had no way to deal with him. Forget it anyway. Just get him out of here as soon as possible. Seo Jae-u waved at his departing back. Once he can walk, I'll send him off. Be careful on the road. There's no way Kang Moo-jin would lay a hand on himself. Right now, his head is filled with nothing but you. He suddenly remembered that whenever adults got into fights, the kids wouldn't even get to eat. Listening to the sizzling of the oil, Seo Jae-u simply thought, let's make some snacks. He had just finished frying up a plate of crisp and fragrant scorched rice chips, and when he turned around, he saw the two little ones. They were just curious what Uncle was making. Smells so good. As soon as Seo Jae-u said, I'll make you some snacks, the two little ones' eyes lit up, their faces full of anticipation. The moment he handed over the scorched rice chips, the two little ones grew so anxious they grabbed them and ran straight back to their room. There were still some scorched rice chips left. Seo Jae-u secretly glanced at Kang Moo-jin on the bed. He couldn't tell at all. whether Kang Moo-jin was actually asleep or just resting with his eyes closed. "Are you asleep?" The voice was clearly very soft, but Kang Moo-jin opened his eyes at once. Sure enough, he hadn't slept. In the novel, Kang Moo-jin's insomnia was very severe. "Want some deep-fried scorched rice?" As soon as he handed it over, Kang Moo-jin frowned. "That's all you're giving me to eat?" Seo Jae-u was instantly displeased. "This is obviously super delicious. Try it before you judge." Watching him glare at the scorched rice like it was his enemy, had this lunatic never eaten it before? With one bite, he quickly finished every last crumb. Seo Jae-u suddenly felt full inside. "Good, right? I'll make you some more. You can really eat, huh? What? Do you think I'm only giving you snacks and it's not enough? Speaking of which, I still haven't shown you around yet. The bathroom is over there. Go there if you want to take a shower. The new toothbrush is on the rack." He kept on talking nonstop over there. Kang Moo-jin couldn't hold it in and let out a low chuckle. Being interrupted put Seo Jae-u in a bad mood. "What?" Kang Moo-jin immediately waved his hand. "Nothing, it's just, has anyone ever told you that something's a bit off in your head?" Seo Jae-u stared at him with a blank, innocent look. "No." Kang Moo-jin fixed his gaze on his eyes, his look slowly growing heavier. "Really?" The next second, he drew his hand towards Seo Jae-u. Seo Jae-u instinctively squeezed his eyes shut in fright, but when he opened them again, he realized the other hadn't pinched him at all. Kang Moo-jin's gaze stopped at the bandage on his neck. His fingertip brushed lightly against that spot. "Doesn't it hurt? By rights, it should hurt a lot." Seo Jae-u couldn't read Kang Moo-jin at all. His throat felt blocked, and he couldn't get even half a word out. Yet Kang Moo-jin stepped in even closer, leaning down with a hint of a smile. "It really hurts a lot, doesn't it?" Seo Jae-u was so frightened he couldn't make a sound. Kang Moo-jin's fingertip moved upward, tapping his forehead with a light poke. "I'm asking you." Unconsciously, Seo Jae-u clenched his trembling hands. He turned his face away, refusing to look at Kang Moo-jin. "Yeah, it hurts a lot." Kang Moo-jin showed an "I understand now" expression. "So that's how it is. I misunderstood." Back in the kitchen, Seo Jae-u couldn't help scrubbing his hands even harder. "If you're going to apologize, at least act like you're apologizing." He, on the other hand, was laughing so cheerfully. The more Seo Jae-u thought about it, the more stifled he felt. This was clearly his own home. Why am I the one who ended up running away? The two little ones came over to return the bowls. Seeing how happily they ate, Seo Jae-u promised to make it for them again next time. But the little one suddenly showed a very awkward expression. "Uncle, do you want to sleep with us?" In a daze, Seo Jae-u ended up sleeping together with them. When he woke up, he only felt a bright light before his eyes. Right? He had fallen asleep in Hyeon-gyeong's room. The bed was very soft, incredibly comfortable and warm. Without realizing it, he hugged tighter. "Still sleepy. I'll sleep a bit more." Then in the next second, he jolted awake. "This doesn't feel right. Did I end up hugging Hyeon-gyeong again while sleeping?" He was obviously a straight-as-steel man, yet he transmigrated into a vicious second prince in the palace. In order to change his character setting and stay alive, he thought every day about clinging to the male lead's thigh. Now he'd not only latched on, he was even sleeping in the protagonist's arms. Seo Jae-u panicked instantly. "How did I fall asleep hugging you, Hyeon-gyeong, again? If I'd known, I might as well have slept holding the kids instead." He lightly patted his burning cheeks. "First, send the kids to school." Seo Jae-u's time, apart from cooking, was spent revolving around Yu Hyeon-gyeong's family. The kids would be back soon, so it was time to cook. But because of Gong-i, the love rival he had rescued, Seo Jae-u hadn't gone to the market for several days. The refrigerator had long been empty, and with winter fast approaching, it had to be filled to the brim. There happened to be kimchi jars in the yard, so he might as well make another batch of kimchi. For 4 people, 20 heads of Napa cabbage should be enough. As for that master of the house, he wouldn't count him for now. They couldn't be short on meat either. He wondered if he could get delivery. He really didn't have any confidence that he could carry that much. Just as that thought fell, he ran right into the 2 little ones coming home from school. He hadn't even had time to open his mouth to greet them when he saw the younger brother looking utterly aggrieved, shouting at his older brother, "I want to go to the amusement park too." As the older brother, Ji-ho was clearly helpless and could only take out a lollipop to coax him. "Seo-jae-u, don't make a fuss, okay? Have some candy." But Seo-jae-u didn't even look at the candy in his brother's hand. His eyes instantly reddened. Today a girl in my class, So-yeon, was showing off that she went to the amusement park. Ji-ho knew very well what their situation was now. He lowered his eyes and stopped talking. Life had never allowed them to just do whatever they wanted. Seo Jae-u walked up behind the 2 little ones and spoke in a very gentle tone. "Where are you 2 going?" "I was just about to go to the market." "Wanna come with me?" Ji-ho was very sensible and reached out to take Seo Jae-u's bag. "We'll help you carry it," but Seo Jae-u shook his head. "No need for you to help." To them, Seo Jae-u was like the sun. So Ji-hye was no longer dejected, and a smile returned to his face. "Jae-u bro, can we eat whatever we want?" Ji-ho immediately waved his hands, as if afraid of troubling him. "We're fine with anything, really." After he finished speaking, Seo Jae-u gave a very bright, pure smile. So Ji-hye raised his hand, overjoyed, and said he wanted to eat fried chicken. Cold sweat instantly broke out on Ji-ho, but Seo Jae-u really liked this change in them. Seo Jae-u asked seriously, "What kind of fried chicken? Original or seasoned?" So Ji-hye's face was full of anticipation, and even his voice lit up. "I like both." Seo Jae-u suddenly put on a very troubled expression. "Ah, I see." The two little guys immediately looked at him in disappointment. In the next second, Seo Jae-u lowered his voice mysteriously. "So you caught me after all." The two of them suddenly tensed up. What? Seo Jae-u blinked mischievously. "What I'm best at is fried chicken." The two of them instantly widened their eyes. Really? Of course, every time I make fried chicken, there are always people who come especially for it. Since we're going to eat it anyway, I'll make another portion of soy sauce fried chicken. Seo Jae-u stared at the cookies in his hand, troubled. Should I get the chocolate ones or the cornflake ones? In the end, after thinking it over, he took both. Ji-ho had always been frugal and was bewildered at the sight. He gently tugged at the corner of Seo Jae-u's clothes. "Uncle, why are you buying so many cookies?" Seo Jae-u shrugged, obviously, to eat them. Right then, So Ji-hye's eyes were glued to the snacks. "Wow, they must taste so good." Noticing his gaze, Ji-ho casually glanced at the price tag. Then he lowered his head and rummaged through the change in his own hand. In the end, he only fished out 2 5-won coins, 10 won, not enough to pay for the 12-won cookies. He unconsciously clenched his fist and forced himself to put on the air of an older brother. "If you eat chocolate cookies, your teeth will go bad." So Ji-hye looked completely puzzled. "But I brush my teeth carefully? They'll still go bad." As soon as Ji-ho finished speaking, he grabbed his hand and directly led him away from the shelf. Listening to their conversation, Seo Jae-u's heart tightened. "I really want to buy it for him. Uncle bought a lot of cookies, so let's all share them. It's about time to go home. We need to eat." Sensible as ever, Ji-ho reached out, ready to help him carry the shopping bags. Seo Jae-u lifted his arm. "No need. There's a lot of stuff, it's heavy. I'm really strong." Seeing how serious he looked, Seo Jae-u couldn't help but laugh. "I'm even stronger, so no need." He took the chance to gently push the two little ones out. All right, you two go out and wait for me first. It's okay. Once Uncle finishes paying, he'll come find you." Finally managing to coax the two of them away, Seo Jae-u went to the counter and paid for that pack of cookies that had been on So Ji-hye's mind the whole time as well. At dinner, Kang Moo-jin finally came to the table and looked at the lavish spread of dishes laid out before him. At once, his face was full of happiness. "Wow, finally a proper meal." Seo Jae-u glared at him in annoyance. "Didn't we eat pretty well yesterday too? And lettuce wraps taste better than eating things plain. Give it a try." Satisfied, Kang Moo-jin put down his chopsticks. "Delicious." Seo Jae-u looked very pleased with himself. Of course, take a look at who cooked it. He hadn't yet realized that he had already become prey. Kang Moo-jin grew even more interested in him. "Where did you learn to cook?" "I learned here and there, I guess. It's just a hobby." Softly repeating the word hobby to himself, Kang Moo-jin was already calculating how to lure him away. Suddenly, Seo Jae-u handed him a cup of hot tea. Kang Moo-jin stared at his face, slightly taken aback. After a moment, he smiled and accepted the cup. "Seo Jae-u, would you like to come work at my place? Don't you want to try coming to my place to work?" Seo Jae-u was so shocked that he cried out, and Kang Moo-jin kept raising the stakes. "Whatever salary you want, I'll give it to you." Seo Jae-u was even more confused. What on earth was he talking about? He knew exactly what Kang Moo-jin and Yu Hyeon-gyeong did at home. Was he supposed to go be a third wheel and even cook for them on top of that? With his face flushed red, Seo Jae-u coughed awkwardly. "With all due respect, that wouldn't be very convenient." "How is it not convenient? First you'll say the distance is too far." Kang Moo-jin let out a cold laugh. "Do you even know where my place is?" Seo Jae-u's explanation left no room for argument. "In any case, it definitely isn't in this complex. If I take more than 3 steps out the door, I have to call a cab. Then take a cab here. I'll reimburse you." That completely stumped Seo Jae-u. Spending money like this, was that really okay? Kang Moo-jin was still smiling 1 second, and the next, his expression turned instantly cold and ruthless. "Mr. Seo, I'm talking to you nicely right now. Cold sweat broke out on Seo Jae-u's back. So he's starting to threaten me already? I'm not the only one who can cook, but no one else can match my taste. Keep looking. Then Mr. Seo, this one Mr. Seo made Seo Jae-u's whole body tremble. It was obvious that Kang Moo-jin was already out of patience. He stood up directly and slammed Seo Jae-u against the wall with his arm. You'd better behave yourself, understand? The distance was suffocatingly close, yet his tone was as cold as a knife. Seo Jae-u was so frightened that his mind went completely blank. Not a single word could squeeze out, but he knew he had to refuse. He forced himself to say something in response. But in the next second, the door was suddenly pushed open. When Yu Hyeon-gyeong saw this scene, his brows immediately furrowed tightly. He took a step forward and pulled Seo Jae-u straight into his arms. Suppressing his anger, he looked at Kang Moo-jin. What are you doing? Kang Moo-jin immediately raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. I really didn't do anything this time. I was just recommending a job to him. Yu Hyeon-gyeong turned his head to look at Seo Jae-u. Really? He seems to really like the food I make, so you're going to refuse, right? Seo Jae-u frowned slightly. Of course. Then he mustered his courage and looked at Kang Moo-jin. Please allow me to decline your offer. Kang Moo-jin still wouldn't give up. Even if I offer a higher salary? Seo Jae-u didn't care at all. I can support myself just fine now. Kang Moo-jin let out a soft, oh. No amount of money is ever enough. But even so, Seo Jae-u still turned him down. Yu Hyeon-gyeong began to instill a sense of safety awareness in Seo Jae-u. Insar finance was set up by the mob. In order to make money, they're capable of anything. Kang Moo-jin raised an eyebrow and shot a glance at Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Of course he knew who he was, such an eyesore. If not for this person, he would have already tricked that little puppy into his hands. Eyesores should be removed. Since it's something he's taken a liking to, he absolutely has to make it his. Kang Moo-jin's attitude suddenly shifted. He pulled back first, temporarily letting them go. Seo Jae-u couldn't help but frown. What do you mean, temporarily? He turned his head to look at Yu Hyeon-gyeong, but the other man was still smiling. As soon as the words fell, Yu Hyeon-gyeong grabbed hold of his wrist. Seo Jae-u was yanked straight into the bedroom by him. The door slammed shut with a bang, and in the next second, he was pinned down on the bed. I'm fine. You lie down for a while first. Seo Jae-u never stopped worrying. No, you have to eat. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong hissed through his teeth. Damn it. Food, food. He raised his hand and directly covered Seo Jae-u's eyes. I'll take care of it, don't worry. You even passed out. Seo Jae-u didn't want to rest at all. Are you paying too much attention to that person? You won't even let yourself catch your breath. Seo Jae-u wanted to explain, but he couldn't say it. He was helping Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's voice suddenly softened. Go to sleep. When it's time, I'll wake you up. It wasn't until Seo Jae-u finally closed his eyes. Only then did Yu Hyeon-gyeong slowly let a satisfied smile appear. But when he looked at Kang Moo-jin again, the latter was frowning tightly. He walked straight up to Kang Moo-jin, but the other spoke first. Mr. Yu Hyeon-gyeong, perfect timing. I have something to say as well. Kang Moo-jin's smile was faint, yet it seemed to hide a blade. Me. I hate anything that gets in my way the most. Yu Hyeon-gyeong wasn't intimidated in the slightest. But I, on the contrary, really like getting in other people's way. Kang Moo-jin lowered his eyes and chuckled lightly. Ah, then our interests are exactly opposite. Please stop making moves against Jae-u. Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't want to circle around with him and was about to make things clear-cut. Whether I make a move or not, what does that have to do with you? He stared at Yu Hyeon-gyeong. You and Seo Jae-u don't have any special relationship, do you? You're just a landlord and a tenant, right? Yu Hyeon-gyeong's words were forcibly shoved back down his throat by him. The next moment, veins bulged in his anger, and his voice sank. Are you angry? What does this have to do with you? Kang Moo-jin glanced at Yu Hyeon-gyeong with a pointed look. Of course there is. It's just that there's a dog blocking my way, barking at me for no reason. Tell me, should I be angry? If only you could keep your mouth shut and stop butting in, that'd be great. Yu Hyeon-gyeong unconsciously clenched his fists, his voice so cold it stung. I'm not the kind of person who'll keep his mouth shut. Kang Moo-jin's gaze grew even colder. I don't like dogs that haven't even figured out which side they're on. I'm a person, not a dog. Kang Moo-jin couldn't be bothered to waste any more time on him and simply tossed out, You decide, Yuho. That name was like a nightmare to Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Seeing him freeze on the spot, Kang Moo-jin instead let out a low chuckle. He turned to leave, not forgetting to casually wave a hand. I'm heading out first. When Seo Jae-u woke up, he not only didn't see Yu Hyeon-gyeong, Kang Moo-jin was gone too, and the clothes were gone as well. Guess they left? That was fast. Come to think of it, where did Hyeon-gyeong go so early in the morning? The day before, An uninvited guest had shown up at the place where Yu Hyeon-gyeong worked. Hyeon-gyeong, someone's here for you. A coworker even joked, "Wow, there are still young people these days who call their parents over to the office?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong was taken aback. Parents? The moment the man saw Yu Hyeon-gyeong, his face immediately broke into a wide smile. Hyeon-gyeong. Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze on the spot. Dad. Yu-ho leaned right in toward him, acting especially affectionate, like he was showing concern. "That's right, it's me, your dad. How have you been lately?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered his head, his face going pale with pain. "How did you find this place?" The man didn't care about his attitude at all and smiled casually. "If I want to find you, there are plenty of ways. Anyway, long time no see. How about going out for a meal? Come on, my treat." "No, I just rarely get the chance to treat my son to a meal." Yu Hyeon-gyeong clenched his teeth. "You're what?" Yu-ho put a hand on his shoulder, smiling as if it were only natural. "Of course, you're my son." Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly slapped that hand away, his eyes turning cold. "If you still think I'm your son, you shouldn't show up like nothing happened. How exactly did you find out I'm here?" Yu-ho withdrew his hand, his expression darkening. How could a father not know where his son is? Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally exploded, his voice bursting out. "What I'm asking is, how did a useless, all-talk father like you manage to find this place?" The corner of Yu-ho's mouth stiffened, and he forced an awkward smile. That, not long ago, I met with some people from finance." Yu Hyeon-gyeong was stunned, his heart sinking. "You borrowed money again?" No. This time they gave me the money themselves." Yu Hyeon-gyeong just felt a pain throbbing in his temples. How could they possibly take the initiative to give you money? In the end, he still clenched his fist tight. "And then," Yu-ho's tone clearly weakened, "well, I just happened to lose everything gambling, and they gave me the money, and they also told me the address where you work." Yu Hyeon-gyeong knitted his brows tightly, his voice pressing down his anger. "You're saying those gangsters told you the address where I work?" "What gangsters? It's the finance industry. Who on earth would lend money to this bastard? And why would they tell him where I am?" As if he had suddenly thought of something, a tremor flashed through Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyes. Kang Moo-jin. Could it be Kang Moo-jin? But clearly, Yu Hyeon-gyeong's misfortune had not yet reached its end. "Customer, you're here." The man was obviously in a very good mood. "One good piece of news, one bad piece of news. Which do you want to hear first?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked at him and said nothing. The man simply raised one finger. "Then I'll start with the good news. I finally don't have to come to this crappy neighborhood anymore. Do you know how exhausted I get every time I climb up here? Next, the bad news. Starting today, the customer has been handed over to the higher-ups. Now you've been transferred to the people who specialize in debt collection." Yu Hyeon-gyeong could hardly believe what he was hearing. "What? Your debt has increased again, so of course the interest will be higher too. You mean my debt has gone up?" A bit more helplessness appeared on the man's face. "You should have known already, right? That old father of yours went and borrowed money again. If you don't lend to him, that would solve it. How could we not? For us, as long as we can make money, of course the more we can lend, the better." To keep from breaking down, Yu Hyeon-gyeong could only clench his palms tighter. "Make money? That person and I stopped being family a long time ago." The man leaned in toward him with a smile. "Of course we can make money. Your household registration isn't separated, is it? And even if it were, your blood ties are still right there. Do you think we'd just let go that easily? Sir, give it up. If it were me, I'd have closed my eyes and dropped dead long ago. You should also think about your younger brothers. You're working this hard just to pay the interest. How long do you plan to keep paying?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help mocking himself. "With this weak body of mine, what value do I even have left? Can I really pay off that sky-high debt just by selling myself?" Little by little, his eyes went empty. It was always like this. Every time he felt he was finally living like a real person, new debts would catch up to him. He struggled desperately, wanting to win just once. But in the very next second, he would be swallowed up by an even fiercer wave. Yu Hyeon-gyeong no longer knew what to do. He couldn't even cry anymore. When he got home and looked up, he saw Seo Jae-u coming over to him with a smile. "Hyeon-gyeong, you're back. You got off work really early today. You must be tired. Are you hungry?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong only then came back to his senses, but he still stared blankly, not knowing what to do with himself. Right, the lunchbox." Hearing that, he suddenly remembered. "I'm sorry, I forgot." Seo Jae-u immediately panicked. What's wrong? Why are you crying? What happened?" When Seo Jae-u asked that, all his pent-up grievances surged up at once. His throat clogged, and he couldn't squeeze out a single word. Seo Jae-u leaned closer, cupped his face, and spoke in a soft, coaxing voice. "Don't cry. The lunchbox is still here. Just bring it back tomorrow." After saying that, he pulled him tightly into his arms again, Were you too tired today? How did you end up crying like this? Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally broke down completely, clinging to him and sobbing out loud. My debts just keep piling up. I want to live like a normal person, but reality keeps forcing me to give up. Yu Hyeon-gyeong clung to him with all his strength, crying like a child. I can't even breathe anymore. It feels like I'm dying. I might as well just go insane. I even start to think, if I sold my body, would things get better? When Seo Jae-u heard this, his whole body froze. After reacting, he fixed his eyes directly on his face. Hyeon-gyeong, don't talk like that. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face was covered in tears, his voice choked and trembling. A body like this? Is it even worth anything? Seo Jae-u made a bold decision. He looked at Yu Hyeon-gyeong, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallowed. The next second, he looked completely serious. Hyeon-gyeong, your body, why don't you sell it to me? Now he even wants to be promoted straight to official consort. He actually said that kind of thing to the main character. Your body, why don't you sell it to me? Yu Hyeon-gyeong's tears even stopped, his whole body freezing on the spot. This person, is he still coveting my body? So all this gentleness during this time was just foreshadowing? In the end, the goal was to get this body? Since I already know his goal, I should turn coldly away and just leave. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't do it. He was even a little happy. A body like mine is okay too? Seo Jae-u was stunned by his sudden change. Huh? Of course it is. All right, then I'll sell it to you. The more Seo Jae-u listened, the more he felt something was off. It was as if something suddenly occurred to him. His face flushed red, and he raised a hand to vigorously shake Yu Hyeon-gyeong's arm. What terrifying things are you imagining in that head of yours? That's not what I meant. Got it. Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help a bitter smile. Isn't it selling my body? I mean selling labor power, labor power. How did your thoughts run over there? I'm begging you to keep your mind healthy a bit. The more anxiously he explained, the more Yu Hyeon-gyeong sank in an instant, visibly unhappy. He knew very well that just relying on labor, even if he worked day and night without rest, he would only make up a small part. The money earned through physical labor was far too little. Seo Jae-u exclaimed, "Ow. Anyway, before I die, I'll definitely be able to pay it all back." He naturally reached out and grabbed Yu Hyeon-gyeong's wrist again. "Let's eat first. You've been busy all day and still haven't eaten." His gentleness could always little by little smooth over Yu Hyeon-gyeong's wounds, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Are you a loan shark or something?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong obediently sat down at the dining table. "What's for dinner?" "Look forward to it." As Seo Jae-u spoke, he brought out a plate of fragrant fried chicken. "Tada, it's fried chicken." The two little ones rushed over excitedly. "This is the fried chicken we made together today. It's really super delicious. It's the best I've ever had." There were original deep-fried pieces, seasoned ones, and soy sauce flavor as well. The more Seo Jae-u talked, the more excited she became, unable to stop. Yu Hyeon-gyeong pulled out a slight smile. "It's that good? How could it not be good? I'm a fried chicken expert." When he said this, Seo Jae-u was bursting with confidence. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's gaze was directly hooked by that plate of golden fried chicken on the table. He took just one bite, and his expression immediately softened. "It's really good." Seo Jae-u handed over a beer. "Fried chicken has to go with beer." Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze for a moment. "I'm not really good at drinking." Seo Jae-u waved his hand. "It's fine. They go great together. At least try one sip first." Seo Jae-u and Yu Hyeon-gyeong drank beer while giving the two little ones some cola. Fried chicken with beer was absolutely perfect. Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help saying, "You really make great fried chicken." At that, Seo Jae-u grew very confident. "Of course, all my friends are begging me to open a fried chicken place. It's just that oil is too expensive, so he can't make it often. But whenever he does, he fries up a huge batch and calls his friends over to eat. Even that guy who's usually called a snack fiend only eats Seo Jae-u's fried chicken." Originally, the two of them were very close friends, but now, Seo Jae-u can't even remember that guy's name, and he's even a bit fuzzy on his own original name. There is one thing he's sure of, though he was definitely taller than Seo Jae-u. The two little ones had already fallen asleep. "About what you said just now? Were you serious?" Seo Jae-u paused slightly, looking at Yu Hyeon-gyeong in confusion. What Yu Hyeon-gyeong had said about selling myself to you made Seo Jae-u instantly embarrassed. "Can you put it another way? Selling myself sounds a bit. Then how should I say it?" Seo Jae-u raised one finger, as solemn as if he were taking an oath. "Just say, I'll lend you money and help you pay off your debts." Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered her eyes and sighed. "Where would you get the money?" Seo Jae-u looked at her, sounding quite justified. "You don't know this, but I'm actually a rich kid." Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't believe him. living in a neighborhood like this? How rich could you be? Seo Jae-u shot back. Don't I still have an extra place I can rent out? Yu Hyeon-gyeong frowned. Even if you sell a place like that, it won't fetch much, right? Seo Jae-u shook his head again and again. You don't get it? My grandma is actually a super rich woman who never flaunts her wealth. When she was young, she worked herself to the bone to make money and put all of it in the bank. She's very frugal, and every cent she saved, she left to me. She was afraid something might happen to her only grandson, so she handed all the money over to me. At this point, Seo Jae-u could only whisper in his heart, I'm sorry, Grandma. I still have to use the money you left for your grandson. I'll find a way to make it up. Hearing this, Yu Hyeon-gyeong became even more unwilling to accept his help. How could I possibly borrow that kind of money? Even though Seo Jae-u said he was doing it willingly, Yu Hyeon-gyeong still insisted on refusing. You say it's no problem, but I have a problem with it. Seeing that he just couldn't get through to her, Seo Jae-u irritably twisted open a bottle of beer. He gulped it down in big swigs. You can't even hold your liquor. Why are you drinking so fast? Before Yu Hyeon-gyeong could stop him, he had already finished it. What? It's not like I'm drunk. Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly clamped a hand around his wrist. Anyone can see you're already drunk, so why won't you agree? I want to pay off the debt for you. Seeing Seo Jae-u like this left Yu Hyeon-gyeong in turmoil. For someone who basically has nothing to do with you, you're gonna put up that much money, then how are you going to live? Seo Jae-u shot back without even thinking. I can work too. Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't believe that at all. Seo Jae-u's face immediately darkened. Why are you looking at me like that? What's wrong with my eyes? Look closely. Seo Jae-u suddenly raised his voice and reached out to grab the red basin next to him. I can pick this up easily. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was speechless on the spot. Even Ji-ho can lift that thing. Seo Jae-u retorted right away. How could Ji-ho possibly lift it? Yu Hyeon-gyeong exposed him directly. That basin is empty. Seo Jae-u had no choice but to toss the basin aside, still standing there grinning foolishly. Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help but laugh out loud too. Even though just now she had been in such despair, it was like she was about to die. But now she could actually laugh. Sure enough, people don't go down that easily. Relation. Seo Jae-u suddenly stood up. Yeah, relation. Yeah, relation. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was stunned by his inexplicable words. What relation? Seo Jae-u pulled up the corners of his mouth in a smile. He moves closer to Yu Hyeon-gyeong step by step and lifts his hand to cup his face. The warm touch at the corner of his lips makes Yu Hyeon-gyeong freeze on the spot. Completely unaware of what he's doing, Seo Jae-u immediately grins foolishly. If it's not a problem, then let's just make one. Yu Hyeon-gyeong snaps back to his senses, and his entire face instantly flushes hot red. Seo Jae-u is still wearing that clueless, silly smile. What kind of relationship does this count as? Seo Jae-u furrows his brows and seriously thinks about it. The next second, he simply drops his head onto Yu Hyeon-gyeong's lap and falls dead asleep. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stares at his face, his gaze shifting slightly. Yeah, what kind of relationship does this count as? He can't help but say in a low voice. He's just acting drunk. He's only like this because he drank too much, don't overthink it. But his racing heart still won't calm down. So Yu Hyeon-gyeong simply downs the whole can of beer. Only after crushing the can flat in his hand does he calm down a little. Why does he become like this every time he drinks too much? Yu Hyeon-gyeong instinctively lifts his hand and touches his forehead. Jae-u really can't drink anymore. Seo Jae-u suddenly scrunches his brows tightly, scaring Yu Hyeon-gyeong so much that he doesn't dare move. Only when he shifts into a more comfortable position does Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally let out a breath of relief. Don't drink again next time. Seo Jae-u frowned and gave a soft in reply. Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help but burst out laughing. Also, don't say you'll help pay off my debt again. Don't. Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze on the spot. He must have fallen asleep, right? He's not blacked out drunk again, is he? Surely you're not gonna make me pay your debt for you, right? No need. Even if you give it to me, I won't take it. I refuse. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was completely stunned. So you weren't actually asleep? Were you? I was. In the end, he still looked at Seo Jae-u's face and curled his lips in a doting smile. All right, then I'll sleep too. After all, in order to take care of this drunkard, he had to get up earlier than usual. When Seo Jae-u woke up, his head hurt like hell. How much did I drink yesterday? Why does it hurt this much? All I can remember is a single can, and then it's just gone. Seo Jae-u still couldn't figure out this body's alcohol tolerance. Totally one drink and he's out. He lifted his head and realized he'd overslept. Has everyone finished breakfast and already gone out? As soon as he opened the door, he saw the two little ones. Uncle's awake. Good morning. Why didn't you go to school? So Ji grinned especially happily. it's the weekend today. Only then did Seo Jae-u remember Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Then where's your brother? Brother went to work. One of the little ones spoke while turning around. Brother told us to wait until uncle woke up and then prepare soup and rice for you. Seo Jae-u hurried to stop them. I'll do it, I can serve the rice. But then again, it was time to let uncle do it himself. You can't make a kid take care of him just because he's drunk. Seo Jae-u hadn't expected that. No matter how busy she was, Yu Hyeon-gyeong had still made egg soup for him. It was a bit bland, but it tasted really good. So Hyeon-gyeong can cook too. It's really delicious. After eating, Seo Jae-u planned to go out and buy Napa cabbage. Last time he'd only focused on buying snacks. And he also had to buy a new phone to replace the one Kang Moo-jin had smashed. What was even more ridiculous was that he bought 20 heads of cabbage in one go, and they still wouldn't deliver. Seo Jae-u dragged the cart, struggling to push it up the slope. Thinking back to when he carried Kang Moo-jin last time, he'd even been able to lift a whole person. Suddenly, the cart got much lighter. When I turned around, I saw Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Hyeon-gyeong? It's me. You don't have to help, he said. I can manage. Without stopping what she was doing, Yu Hyeon-gyeong said in a flat tone, It's heavy, isn't it? Seo Jae-u still tried to act tough. This little weight is nothing for me. I'm really strong. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's movements paused. I know. You were already bragging about how strong you were yesterday. Seo Jae-u panicked in an instant because he had no memory of it at all. What on earth did I do yesterday when I was drunk? Did I do something wrong? He looked terrified. Yu Hyeon-gyeong lowered her eyes and gently shook her head. No. Seo Jae-u was still uneasy. Really nothing? Seeing Yu Hyeon-gyeong nod, he finally let out a breath. Is that so? Then that's good. It should be a good thing, right? But the more I think about it, the more anxious I feel. As soon as he got home, Seo Jae-u pulled out the food bag. Kids, come on out. Guess what this is? I bought donuts, Seo Jae-u cried out on the spot. Wow, donuts. Seo Jae-u picked one up and turned to look at Yu Hyeon-gyeong. Here, Hyeon-gyeong. Have one too. Yu Hyeon-gyeong simply bent down and took a bite of the donut in his hand. The two little ones were stunned on the spot, and Seo Jae-u couldn't help asking out loud, why is Big Brother eating the donut in Uncle's hand? Jiho instantly broke out in a cold sweat, because Big Brother hasn't washed his hands yet. Seo Jae-u was even more confused. Wouldn't it be fine to just wash his hands and then eat? Jiho could only force an excuse. Then the donut will get cold. Only then did Seo Jae-u half understand and half not, and nod. Ah, I see. Seeing that the kids had been successfully fooled, the few of them finally breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face was flushed, still biting the donut in Seo Jae-u's hand. A straight guy opens his eyes and unexpectedly finds himself transmigrated into the vicious secondary consort in a novel, all in order not to be eliminated by the primary consort. He started desperately clinging to the protagonist Seo's thigh, and as a result, he accidentally ended up flirting with both male leads. Protagonist Seo's gaze just couldn't help drifting toward him. You're making kimchi? Seo Jae-u wasn't just making a batch of kimchi. He went straight to preparing enough for 4 people to get through the winter. Yu Hyeon-gyeong was stunned. 4 people? For people. Which 4? You and me. Plus Jiho and Seo Jae-u, 4 of us. It was just that one line. But Yu Hyeon-gyeong instantly flushed red all the way to the tips of his ears. Seo Jae-u was still cutely listing the plan. Now we still need to make the glutinous rice paste, mix the seasoning, cook the broth, wring out the Napa cabbage. There's a lot to do. Only then did Yu Hyeon-gyeong come back to his senses. I'll help too. The 2 little ones refused to be outdone. Me too. I want to help too. I'll help too. Seo Jae-u's heart softened all at once. Kids, the fact that you're even saying you want to help me already really moves me. Standing to the side, Yu Hyeon-gyeong watched enviously as Seo Jae-u patted his little brother's head, until Mr. Seo suddenly noticed how Yu Hyeon-gyeong was addressing him. Seo Jae-u took a step closer, as if seriously teaching. Didn't I tell you to call me Jae-u-ji? Does Jae-u-ji think kids are cute? Yu Hyeon-gyeong being so proactive instead made Seo Jae-u's face heat up. Say what you just said again. One more time. Yu Hyeon-gyeong tilted his head, looking confused. Are kids cute? No, the sentence before that. Jae-u-hyung? Hearing him so naturally call him Hyung, Seo Jae-u's chest suddenly tightened with a sharp ache. The way he used to ignore him coldly felt like it had just happened yesterday. He never thought he would actually call him Jae-u-hyung. So Yu Hyeon-gyeong was even more confused. What's wrong? Weren't you the one who told me to call you that? Seo Jae-u immediately grinned like an idiot. Yes, that's it. Keep calling me that from now on. What do you want to eat? Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't quite keep up with his pace. Isn't this a bit too sudden? Hyung. I can make you anything. After all, it's such a memorable day. We can't just muddle through it. His cuteness made Yu Hyeon-gyeong fail to hold back a laugh. Whatever Yu Hyung makes, I'll like it. Seo Jae-u was so moved that his eyes grew hot. How could even the way he talked sound so nice? Okay, then barbecue, pork, or beef? Yu Hyeon-gyeong started thinking seriously. Barbecue did sound pretty good. Before the words were even finished, Seo Jae-u got excited. Then chicken, fried chicken, spicy braised chicken, samjitang? Yu Hyeon-gyeong laughed again. Why was he this excited? Spicy braised chicken sounds just fine. Seo Jae-u was still stuck on that word, hyung. Unable to pull himself out no matter what. Okay, then hurry and get the kimchi marinated. Let's get ready to cook. Tonight's dinner will be spicy braised chicken. Before that, though, Yu Hyeon-gyeong suddenly spoke up and cut him off, when Jae-u still hadn't answered my question. Answer? What question? I asked whether Jae-u thought kids were really cute. Of course I do. Seo Jae-u answered without even thinking. Ji-ho and So-ji-ye are both especially cute. They're young, but they're polite and well-behaved. And Hyeon-gyeong too. Young but really sensible. Yu Hyeon-gyeong mused for a moment, a smile at the corner of her lips. Is that so? Well, Jae-u is also very cute. He's so small. Seo Jae-u froze for a second, and the next moment his face flushed bright red. What are you talking about? I'm not short, but Yu Hyeon-gyeong just looked at him very seriously. You're shorter than me. Seo Jae-u hurriedly waved his hand, forcibly cutting off the topic. He couldn't figure out why Yu Hyeon-gyeong was suddenly making fun of him. Yu Hyeon-gyeong looked puzzled. You don't like talking about height? Seo Jae-u replied coolly, I don't. Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze on the spot and could only watch his back as he walked away. Seo Jae-u threw his attention back to cooking. Luckily, all the ingredients were there. He suddenly caught sight of Yu Hyeon-gyeong peeking over from that side, and his brow tightened. I already said don't talk about height, so don't come over here. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face looked a bit awkward. I'm here to help. Seo Jae-u's frown deepened. Feeling apologetic, Yu Hyeon-gyeong clenched her fingers tightly, not knowing where to put either of her hands. Is my temper too bad? Seo Jae-u softened inside. I really can't do anything about you. Then just stand there. After busying himself for a while, Seo Jae-u looked at the soup pot with satisfaction. It should taste great, right? Yu Hyeon-gyeong nodded repeatedly. Jae-u, do you know? Know what? Staring at his face, Yu Hyeon-gyeong smiled and spoke softly. You're very cute. Seo Jae-u sighed helplessly. Yeah, I know, because I'm short, right? Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help bursting into laughter. That's not what I meant. At this moment, Kang Moo-jin had already begun purging the traitors in the gang. I'm really glad to see you all. His tone was eerily calm. You should be grateful that I'm in a good mood today. It will be over soon. But the calmer he was, the more the people on the ground trembled. So, if you want to stab me in the back, then you've got to stab all the way through. As he spoke, he lifted his eyes, his gaze growing increasingly vicious. That way I'll be completely finished, and you won't have to suffer like this anymore. As soon as he finished speaking, screams exploded one after another. Dirty blood splattered onto Kang Moo-jin as well. Until the air was completely quiet, Kang Moo-jin finally called over his subordinate. Hyo-dong, what about the thing I asked you to look into? Yes, it's all been cleared up. That troublemaking kid is currently scraping by doing manual labor, bartending, and hauling goods for logistics work. On the surface, he's still putting on a brave face, but starting next month, he might not even be able to pay the interest. The debt will only snowball. Kang Moo-jin is clearly not interested in Yu Hyeon-gyeong. So what about the other one? Manhwa? That kid? Aside from going to the wet market and the supermarket, he basically just holes up at home. He's a well-known unemployed loafer in the neighborhood. I heard he even used to dream of becoming an idol. A hint of interest finally appears in Kang Moo-jin's eyes. An idol? But he isn't one now, right? It's like he's given up. And here's the latest intel. He recently bought a lot of vegetables. Looks like he's planning to make kimchi. Kang Moo-jin arches a brow. Kimchi? But he never expected that he would actually get tangled up with two male leads. He had only wanted to feed them a bit and latch onto a powerful backer. Yet he ended up winning over the stomachs of both men first. In front, the protagonist Seo is proactively delivering himself right into his hands. And behind, the protagonist Gong is plotting while trying to lure him away. Just as things are heating up ambiguously between Seo Jae-u and Yu Hyeon-gyeong, on Kang Moo-jin's side, he has already dug up every detail about Seo Jae-u's background. A dignified mob boss, and he's actually fixated on an ordinary guy making kimchi. That run-down little housing complex isn't exactly uninhabited. Every winter, Everyone squeezes together and busies themselves making kimchi. A scene from childhood flashes before his eyes. Kang Moo-jin let out a low chuckle. Want to go take a look? Seo Jae-u suddenly felt an inexplicable itch in his ears. Is someone talking about me behind my back? The moment he got distracted, the spicy braised chicken was already out of the pot. Kids, can you handle spicy food? The two little ones' eyes immediately lit up. We can eat it no matter how spicy it is. Seo Jae-u's heart softened. The kids have really grown up. Yu Hyeon-gyeong also smiled. We'll enjoy it properly. Once they started eating, the two little ones were so overwhelmed by the spice that tears streamed down their faces. Seo Jae-u naturally passed the steamed egg over and said softly that it would help tone down the spiciness. The little one instantly looked satisfied. The steamed egg is so delicious. I can even have another bowl of rice. Seo Jae-u smiled and told them not to eat too much. There'll be self-cut meat tomorrow. The two little ones' eyes went wide in an instant. What's that? I've never had it. Looking at them, Seo Jae-u felt even more distressed. Of course, with their parents having abandoned them and their older brother needing to work part-time, when would they ever have the chance to eat things like this? You'll know once you eat it tomorrow. The two little ones were so happy they started chanting, "Self-cut meat party." As Yu Hyeon-gyeong watched this harmonious scene, her heart suddenly sank. In truth, she shouldn't be resting like this. But her younger brothers and Jae-yu were all so happy. Forget it, just one day. Really, just one day. The two little ones were especially attached to Seo Jae-u, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong clearly didn't want to break this harmony. Jiho Sojiwayi, it's time for bed. Seo Jae-u picked up the pretending to be asleep Sojiwayi, his tone unbelievably soft as he even sniffled a little. It's fine for Bitnu to sleep here, and it's fine for Yun to sleep here too. Yu Hyeon-gyeong immediately put her hands on her hips and reminded him. This will lead to bad habits. But Seo Jae-u was perfectly calm about it. We can just keep sleeping together, and your room needs to be renovated. Isn't it because there's no heating? An electric blanket only covers so much. During the renovation, just stay in this room for now. When Yu Hyeon-gyeong heard this, her face flushed red once again. Seo Jae-u was still worrying about the children. It's already winter now. The kids will catch a cold. It's enough space for 4 people to sleep here. So hurry up and wash up and come over. Yu Hyeon-gyeong's face burned even hotter. She only answered softly, then lay down beside him until their breathing slowly became even. Jiho's voice came from beside her ear. Hyung, are you asleep? Only then did Yu Hyeon-gyeong slowly open her eyes. Why aren't you asleep yet? A bit of worry had appeared on Jiho's face. Hyung, are you mad? Yu Hyeon-gyeong froze. Why would I be angry? Jiho's face flushed red, and his tone carried self-reproach. Because we didn't listen to you and didn't go to sleep like we were told. Yu Hyeon-gyeong smiled and rubbed his head. I'm not mad. Don't worry. Jiho's voice was muffled as he quietly asked again. Hyung, Uncle is a good person, right? Yu Hyeon-gyeong turned his head to look at Seo Jae-u's sleeping face. The tips of his ears grew hot, but he still smiled. He's a good person. Only then did Jiho breathe a sigh of relief. I knew it. He's a good person. Only then did Jiho beam. I knew it. Jiho's words kept echoing in Yu Hyeon-gyeong's ears. Uncle, he's a good person, right? Suddenly, Seo Jae-u woke up with a yawn. Why are you up? I woke up. My throat's dry. When Seo Jae-u was drinking water, he noticed that Yu Hyeon-gyeong was staring fixedly at Seon. What is it? Do you have something you want to say? Yu Hyeon-gyeong was silent for a moment. Yeah. About that time when you got drunk and made a scene. Seo Jae-u was instantly startled, and Yu Hyeon-gyeong, of all things, looked serious. Actually, there's still something I didn't say. Seo Jae-u grew extremely nervous. What did I do? Seeing him like this, Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't help but laugh out loud. He raised his hand and gently covered Seo Jae-u's eyes. What on earth happened? Yu Hyeon-gyeong pressed her lips together, the smile in her eyes full of affection. Seo Jae-u grew even more anxious. What on earth happened that night? The air outside was bone-chillingly cold. Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared blankly at her own hands. What did I do? I clearly hated him, but the changed Seo Jae-u was really too good. Yu Hyeon-gyeong could no longer go on hating him. Yet reason immediately pressed down again. No, that person is no good. If Yu Hyeon-gyeong stays by Seo Jae-u's side, it will only make Seo Jae-u even more unfortunate. Even though she thought this, Yu Hyeon-gyeong couldn't stop. She still wanted to get closer to Seo Jae-u. She wanted to understand Seo Jae-u more. She wanted to make Seo Jae-u speak the secrets he was hiding. She even wanted to tear off Seo Jae-u's disguise with her own hands. This was the first time Yu Hyeon-gyeong had felt this kind of emotion. When other people like someone, are they like this too? As soon as they relax, The feelings pressed at the bottom of the heart seem ready to surge out all at once. Yu Hyeon-gyeong didn't know how other people tuck these feelings into their everyday life, but he felt he definitely could, because he had always endured. "Boss, can I come to work? I can head out right now." Yu Hyeon-gyeong went out in the middle of the night, but Seo Jae-u was so flustered that he couldn't sleep the whole night. Since he was awake anyway, he might as well go check on the cabbages. They were fully soaked and ready to be taken out. Rinse them once, wash them clean, then wring the water out. Then make a new batch of sauce. Alright, time to get to work. The door lock suddenly made a sharp click. As Seo Jae-u turned around, he met Yu Hyeon-gyeong's gaze. His face instantly flushed bright red. "Why, you're back?" But Yu Hyeon-gyeong walked straight over to him. Suppressing the awkwardness in his heart, Seo Jae-u said quietly, "Go in and rest. You've been working all day." Neither of them mentioned what had happened that night. Yu Hyeon-gyeong simply rolled up his sleeves. "It's fine. I'll help you." Seo Jae-u had no choice but to bring over a pair of gloves for Yu Hyeon-gyeong to put on. But he still couldn't help worrying. "Aren't you tired?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong replied quickly, "I'm not tired. It's fine." Right now, Seo Jae-u truly didn't know how he was supposed to get along with Yu Hyeon-gyeong. They didn't say a single word for 10 minutes, and the awkwardness was suffocating. He might as well just ask him directly. "Hyeon-gyeong, about last night, why did you do that?" Seo Jae-u's face was burning red. Yu Hyeon-gyeong only replied with one sentence. "You were just drunk and acting crazy?" Leaving Seo Jae-u stunned on the spot. Didn't you not drink at all?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong shrugged. "Didn't you drink?" Only then did Seo Jae-u catch on. "So, I was the one drunk and acting crazy?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong's eyes were full of indulgence. "Don't drink next time." Ji really can't hold his liquor. Thinking of his own embarrassing scene, Seo Jae-u practically wanted to cry. Thinking of his own embarrassing scene, Seo Jae-u was on the verge of tears. "If I ever drink again, I'm a dog." The kimchi was finally done. Now it was time to go boil the boiled pork slices. Watching as the aroma of the boiled pork slowly wafted out, Seo Jae-u looked completely satisfied. It was the little one's first time eating boiled pork, so it had to be cooked deliciously. Following Seo Jae-u's instructions, Yu Hyeon-gyeong spread the dipping sauce layer by layer into the cabbage leaves. After a long time, Yu Hyeon-gyeong finally spoke in a low voice. "It's okay. When I said acting crazy from drinking, it's okay to do that too." Seo Jae-u got even more upset. "Then why did you imitate me yesterday and tell me not to drink?" No matter how you looked at it, the one at fault was still himself. Seo Jae-u decided to shut up. Just as the kimchi finished marinating, a knocking sound suddenly came from the door. Both of them froze for a moment. At this hour, who would come? The next second, Kang Moo-jin walked straight in carrying a bag. "Hello there. Long time no see." Yu Hyeon-gyeong instantly went on high alert. Seo Jae-u was still dazed. What's going on? Why did he suddenly show up? The other man was even smiling so naturally. Looking at that smiling face, Seo Jae-u felt even more uneasy. A bold guess suddenly popped into Seo Jae-u's mind. Could it be that, without him realizing, Yu Hyeon-gyeong and that man had already progressed at lightning speed? This guy had actually shown up again so quickly. Seo Jae-u forcibly pressed down the wave of nausea. His life was still in this man's hands. Seo Jae-u forced out a smile. "What brings you here?" Kang Moo-jin hefted the bag in his hand. "I heard you were making kimchi, so I came over. Aren't you going to invite me in? I even bought some meat." Seo Jae-u was startled by how natural he sounded. Like he really was just a neighbor dropping by. "Didn't you already come in?" He had just taken a step when Yu Hyeon-gyeong blocked him. Kang Moo-jin's face darkened. "What are you doing?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong stared at him with obvious hostility. "Why are you here?" Kang Moo-jin lifted his brows lightly. "Didn't I just say? Do you not understand?" The two of them met each other's gaze head-on, neither backing down. Seo Jae-u's head was pounding, and he could only bite the bullet and smooth things over. "Enough. Stop it. Give me the bag. And Hyun-gyeong, give me the gloves too." Seo Jae-u looked at the bag stuffed full of meat and was stunned on the spot. "How much did you actually buy?" But Kang Moo-jin just smiled and said that he had a big appetite, so he bought a bit more. Seo Jae-u felt a tightness in his chest. The mad dog only drinks expensive water and expensive liquor, so he'll also eat the food he cooks himself with such relish? Did I set him up wrong? "All of you go in and sit down, no more arguing." With that, he hurried into the kitchen. Yet he could still feel Kang Moo-jin's gaze remained fixed on him, not moving away. Yu Hyeon-gyeong pressed down her anger, her expression extremely ugly. "What is your real purpose in coming here?" Kang Moo-jin smiled and shrugged. "Isn't it the same answer as just now? Why won't you believe it?" Yu Hyeon-gyeong clenched her teeth. "How could I possibly believe someone like you?" Kang Moo-jin didn't back down either. It's not like there's anything unbelievable about it. On Seo Jae-u's side, the boiled pork belly was done. He tasted a piece first, and the moment the meat entered his mouth, it melted. His heart softened. The two little ones will definitely like this. Kids, food's ready. The little ones did love to eat, but in their hearts, their big brother was more important. Seo Jae-u explained, "My older brother is entertaining guests. In a moment, the adults will open another table." After hearing this, Seo Jae-u's face immediately fell. Seo Jae-u did not let him feel upset any longer and directly wrapped it up for Seo Jae-u.